American comics, starting with Superman. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction, so don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 326, Smell It, Does It Smell Good? As the two entered the medical bay, Leah immediately saw Cisco, his face brimming with tears. The sight of him gritting his teeth to stifle a burst of tears, his eyes filled with pity. Diana, did you hit him? Leah asked Diana, who was standing nearby. Diana rolled her eyes at Liam. He just saw Hawkgirl and Hawkman kissing, and it was a bit overwhelming. He had a meltdown. It would have been fine if she hadn't said anything, but Diana, with her honesty, poked at Cisco's wounds, rubbing salt into them. Cisco couldn't hold back his tears any longer, and burst into tears. The patient needed rest. Inside the medical bay, Balrog's indicators instantly soared to critical levels. Superman and Leah were both furious. If Cisco cried Balrog to death, Batman would kill him. Don't cry, find another one, Leah said with professional solace. As they all headed out of the infirmary, Diana couldn't help but ask curiously, Leah, who are you going to introduce Cisco to? Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, or if that doesn't work, Katana will do. Oh, no, Katana's missing, so Harley Quinn will do. If you're willing, I'll give you both Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Hearing Leah's words, Cisco's tears only grew louder. He was introducing Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy to him. These two women were truly exquisite, but could any ordinary person possibly handle them? They were truly something the average person could stomach. Leah was also embarrassed. He was good at comforting women, but comforting men. Stop crying. If you keep crying, I'll throw you to Killer Croc. He's the type who likes delicate, fair-skinned, chubby girls like you, Leah yelled at Cisco, and he immediately stopped crying, huddling his hands like a bullied young wife. Seeing that Cisco finally stopped crying, Leah's expression gradually eased and he asked, Tell me, what happened? Diana, where did you go just now? I went to the Earth in our neighboring universe. You should know that since the Reverse Flash was defeated, a black hole appeared above Central City. That black hole is connected to the neighboring Earth, and the big villain Professor Zoom over there. Leah interrupted Diana, Get to the point. Professor Zoom kidnapped Harrison Wells' daughter, and Barry asked me to help him rescue Dr. Wells' daughter. However, Dr. Wells' daughter was rescued, but it also angered Professor Zoom. Professor Zoom kidnapped Caitlin and threatened Barry to use the Speed Force extractor developed by Dr. Wells to absorb Barry's Speed Force in exchange for Caitlin's life. After listening to Diana's explanation, Leah shrugged indifferently. What about Caitlin? Professor Zoom didn't keep his promise. He gained Barry's Speed Force, but still took Caitlin. Cisco rubbed his cheek. But the key is that Barry has lost his Speed Force. We can't defeat Professor Zoom, and Diana can't keep up with him. Professor Zoom's speed is 4 times that of the Flash and 10 times that of Wonder Woman. Worry, it's no big deal. Cisco looked incredulous. What do you mean it's no big deal? Oh my god, Barry lost his speed. I know you and Superman are fast, but no offense, I've calculated that your maximum speed isn't as fast as Professor Zoom. Only Barry Allen has a lot of room to grow. We must find a way to help Barry regain his speed, then let's help him regain his speed. After all, this isn't the first time he's lost his Speed Force, right? Leah asked, causing Cisco to fail. That's right. This isn't the first time Barry Allen has lost his speed. In the past, he often lost his speed because of superpowers or for various reasons, but he regained his speed in the end. So think about it, the Flash's daily loss of speed this time. It seems that there is nothing to worry about. Diana, you follow Superman and Batman to find Robin in the next few days. Don't let go of any inch of land on the Earth, in the sky, on the ground, and in the sea. I will send out, Leah said to Diana. Of course, we have to look for it in the universe too. I think it is very unlikely that Robin is on Earth. What happened to Robin? Diana frowned. She quite liked everyone, the snotty child. There's a strong possibility of being kidnapped. There's been a string of events lately, and I don't think it's a coincidence. There's probably someone behind all this. Leah's words surprised Cisco. He grabbed his hair, anxiously asking, Who else is behind this? Why are all these enemies popping up one after another lately? An alien. You could interpret it that way. Leah suddenly thought of Cisco's abilities. By the way, Cisco, can you help me ping Robin's location? Maybe we can find something important. This made Cisco panic. Why are aliens involved now? What's wrong with this world? Why are you panicking? This isn't the first time Earth, and I'll call Batman and Superman back. I remember Cisco needs to smell something of Robin's to use his abilities, preferably something Robin uses regularly. Hey, what do you mean by smelling it? Diana, what do you think I am? Cisco realized what he was saying, and his face turned green with anger again. With shockwaves as their ultimate ability to find people, Superman and Batman quickly returned and retrieved a filthy teddy bear from Robin's room in Wayne Manor. This was Damian Wayne, his only friend during his training with the League of Assassins. Here's the thing. Damian has loved sleeping with this bear since he was little. Cisco, go ahead and smell it. Leah handed the teddy bear to Cisco, who glared at her with a bitter, resentful look. I say again, even if I lose my powers, jump to my death from the Justice League, I won't sniff that teddy bear. My superpower is to sense by touch, not smell. Will smelling it make it clearer? Batman asked sternly. Cisco was almost devastated. You guys are so mean. You're bullying me, but Batman's words piqued Cisco's curiosity. He usually sensed things by touch, so would smelling it make it even clearer? Thinking of this, Cisco coughed lightly, and with some reluctance, he leaned forward and sniffed it. Sniff. This smell is really. Before he could utter the next word, a series of images flashed through Cisco's mind. A moment later, all the images formed a clear world, as if he was in a holographic theater. Cisco looked up and saw an alien wearing silver-white metallic clothes, with green skin on his face and several tubes inserted into his head. And in front of this alien were the imprisoned Robin, Deadshot, and Katana. Today is the last day of 2018, brothers. If you have any spare monthly tickets, please vote for me. We agreed to update 10 times tomorrow, and I will update 10 times tomorrow. I have to work all night today. Think about others hugging their girlfriends to celebrate the new year, while the author hugs his keyboard to celebrate the new year. So you readers are my true love. Chapter 327, Brainiac. Somewhere in the universe, inside a skull-shaped spaceship, Damien Darhk was bound like a dumpling, with Deadshot and Katana next to him similarly tied up. Green monster, let me out. Let's fight you, Damian Wayne yelled at the person in front of him, trying desperately to break free from his chains. But the chains bound he seemed alive, and no matter how Damian Wayne struggled, like using his escape technique, it was useless. The green-skinned person in front of him turned and faced Damian Wayne. Don't try to provoke me. I've never felt anger before. Besides, the binding you have artificial intelligence. They'll optimize their restraints based on your attempts to break free. It's impossible for you to break free. Damian Wayne, his subtle exposed thoughts, fell silent. Frowning, he asked, what the hell are you? I'm not a ghost. My name is Brainiac, an artificial intelligence from Comet Core. Countless mechanical tentacles extended from Chain's Brainiac's back. He walked over to the strange mainframe at the edge of the spacecraft and began operating it. Deadshot's weapons were taken away, and he watched intentionally, surprised to see their abductors speak English. It's a good thing to be able to communicate. Deadshot coughed lightly and asked, Mr. Brainiac, what is your purpose in coming to Earth? I mean, if you don't kill us, you must have your plan. Why don't you say it out? You are much more rational than most people. Mr. Floyd Lawton, alien. Mr. Brainiac, Robin rolled his eyes, trying to negotiate terms with a green alien in front of him. If you come to Earth to learn the knowledge of the Earth, as long as you pay some metals that are very interesting. Damian Wayne, you really are an interesting person. I found out that your mother works for a professional assassin organization called the League of Assassins. You accept the employment of others. So if I pay you enough gold, will you kill Kal-El for me? Or, as you call him, Superman. After hearing this, Robin and the other two's faces changed. The other party seemed to have revealed his purpose. Omega. You want to kill Superman? Robin was a little bit unbelievable. He knew that the alien in front of him had big plans, but he didn't expect that the other party would actually come for Superman. Kill him? You could interpret it that way, right? Brainiac glanced back at the console and said, 20 years ago, I thought I had destroyed Krypton and its inhabitants. Superman's survival is an oversight I must rectify. Oh, and Kara Zor-El and Fyra, They're all refugees from Krypton. Your planet, though humble, intrigues me nonetheless. Its many contradictions are captivating. PFFT. 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 Seeing Brainiac's intoxicated expression, Robin felt sick. What's so appealing? What knowledge? You simply want to conquer Earth, and you're talking about it in such high-sounding terms. You're such a shameless alien, Robin cursed, but Brainiac remained unmoved. With a wave of his hand, Robin and the other two were yanked by chains and dragged into the ship's cage. I'm no mere conqueror. I enjoy collecting worlds and preserving their essence and knowledge to enhance my wisdom. The cage opened, trapping Robin and the other two on the ground. 3 tentacles extended from the top, covering their heads, and the cage teleported them to the lowest level of the ship. You bastard, green monster, what are you going to do to us? Robin and the other two twisted their bodies, trying to resist, but their bodies were bound tightly, unable to move an inch. LexCorp uniform. Brainiac, this is Dr. Giles of LexCorp. He once assisted Lexer Luthor in researching kryptonite. If you want to develop synthetic kryptonite, he's the right person to turn to. Damien Darhk led the middle-aged man behind him and approached Brainiac. Brainiac smiled warmly and looked at the middle-aged man before him. Can you synthesize kryptonite? In theory, sir. While there are some technical issues I haven't yet resolved, with your technology, it should be no problem. Of course, the cost. Before Dr. Giles could finish, a tentacle extended from Brainiac's back and pierced Dr. Giles's brain. A flash of light flickered from the mechanical tentacles, as if some information was being transmitted from their brains to Brainiac's core. Damien Darhk curled his lips. You don't have to kill this man. Never mind, it's none of my business anyway. Both were merciless killers, but Damien Darhk felt Brainiac was even more brutal. He at least had some human emotions, despite his constant image of a murderous villain. However, Damien Darhk cared deeply about many things. Perhaps over his long years, he had become indifferent to many things. But everyone has their own aspirations. Superman and the other members of the Justice League pursued peace, while Damien Darhk's ideals were far more selfish and philosophical. Don't worry, Damien worry. Darhk. All I want is Superman's body. We have a common enemy. Whether you want eternal rule over Earth or the establishment of your own kingdom, I will help you achieve it, Brainiac promised, his usual warm smile on his face. Okay, I get it, Damien Darhk chuckled coldly and retreated. Justice League. Cisco was surrounded by a group of bigwigs. I really can't sense anything else. Just a few frames. Batman, even if you let me eat this teddy bear, I can't locate Robin. Try again, I promise this will be the last time. Batman placed one hand on Cisco's shoulder and almost shoved Robin's teddy bear into Cisco's face with the other. Chapter 328, Rebuilding the Particle Accelerator. You're threatening me, Cisco roared in anger, then grabbed his teddy bear and slammed his face into its belly. He took a deep breath. The same images flashed, showing Brainiac capturing Robin and the others. There's really nothing new here. Brainiac just captured Robin, Deadshot, and Katana, but they all looked fine. That's all. Batman was already overjoyed to know his son was still alive. But the thought of Damien Darhk being captured by Brainiac didn't make him happy. Capturing him but not killing him certainly wasn't to help Batman raise his son. There had to be some ulterior motive, but Brainiac's exact purpose was unknown. Leah was also troubled. In her past life's memories, there were many different versions of Brainiac's plot. Who knew which one this universe followed? Or was it that, having defeated the Data Devil, this incarnation's Brainiac had redesigned his attack plan and didn't follow any of the previous versions? Avengers, can't you open a portal? Can you teleport us directly to Robin's location? Superman asked, remembering Leah's abilities. I've already tried it. Brainiac has mastered the art of spatial blockade, and my magic can't penetrate his barrier. Leah shook his head. To many, science and magic seem unrelated, perhaps even contradictory. But both science and magic are the understanding and application of the laws of this world, simply through different methods. So, whether using magic to create spatial restrictions or using science to block space, the effect is the same. Perhaps there's another way. Malcolm Merlyn. He should know something, if we can find him, Diana suggested. Malcolm Merlyn and Damien Darhk had kidnapped Batman and Robin before, but Superman arrived in time to stop them on Thea Quinn, or even have Thea play along and stage a kidnapping scene. Her father is sure to show up. Finding Malcolm Merlyn is the last resort. Diana, you Fiorina and Batman go to Star City and find him. Leah began assigning tasks, then turned to Superman and Cyborg. Superman, continue the search on Earth. Cyborg, aim the satellite upwards. By the way, can our drones navigate space? Yes, but the remote control range cannot exceed 500,000 kilometers, which means they can't go much beyond the Earth-Moon system, Cyborg said. Release them all, primarily around the Moon. If Brainiac finds it convenient, the Moon is a good place to hide. Regardless, we should declare war. Brainiac could invade at any moment. Recall all agents on leave, especially Shazam. Leah, oh, don't you have anyone to help you think of a solution? I know a lot of bad things have happened these past 2 days, but, Leah quickly interrupted Cisco's sympathetic performance. Don't worry, it's no big deal. I'll go back to Central City with you and help Barry regain his speed. You can really do that? Cisco was incredulous. Cyborg continued Leah's words. Of course, Barry's speed comes from the energy generated by the particle accelerator explosion. In theory, we just need to recreate a particle accelerator explosion. Simply put, Barry has to swear to Iris again. I mean, he has to be struck by lightning again. Struck by lightning again? Are you kidding me? Cisco thought the idea was crazy. What if they didn't fail? Would Barry be struck dumb? No, you have to understand. Barry is the child of destiny, Leah said seriously. Alright. First it was Reverse Flash, now it's Zoom. Robin's been kidnapped by a green-skinned AI, and now you're telling me you're going to strike Barry Allen with lightning. Leah grabbed Cisco's shoulders. Enough of the nonsense. Let's disperse, Cisco, we're going to Central City. Before he'd finished speaking, Leah and Cisco were the first to vanish. Superman and the others also took action, each doing their own thing. Central City, a cutting-edge technology laboratory. The atmosphere was somewhat subdued. Zoom had captured Caitlin Snow, and now no one knew whether they were in this universe or on Earth next door. Leah, dressed in casual clothes, arrived at the lab with Cisco. Harrison Wells from Earth next door was working on a formula on a whiteboard. Seeing Leah and Cisco, he instinctively reached for the laser gun nearby. Don't shoot, Dr. Wells, it's me, Cisco quickly intervened, introducing them. League. Avenger, this is Harrison Wells from Earth next door. Sorry, I thought it was Zoom, the second floor lounge. I've been thinking of a way to get Barry back to speed. If we rebuild a particle accelerator, a smaller one, at least one that won't blow Central City up into the air, we have the records left by the previous Reverse Flash. We know what substances Barry's body needs, how lightning combines with dark matter, and what kind of energy the particle accelerator draws. If we recreate the scene, we can get Barry back to speed, Leah said. Harrison Wells extended his hand and excitedly said, yes, that's right. That's the theory, but when my data modeling has failed. I don't know what's wrong. Leah walked over to the whiteboard and quickly scanned Dr. Wells's formula at Super. Despite losing the Flash's speed, Leah's basic speed remains swift, reaching a speed of 1,000 lines at a glance. You're using the variables from your universe. While our universe is very similar, some of the variables are different. We'll scale them down to create the corresponding speed equations. As he spoke, Leah picked up a marker and, with lightning speed, rewrote the formula on the whiteboard with his right hand. Chapter 329, Superman's glasses are awesome. With his superhuman brain and incredible speed, Leah substituted the various variables and parameters of the universe into the equations and began calculating. In about 10 seconds, he had completed all the formulas on the whiteboard. This is a miniature particle accelerator. How long will it take you to build it? Cisco and Harrison Wells, both exceptionally intelligent scientists, quickly scanned Leah's formulas and quickly became excited. That's right. This is the particle accelerator model we need. We already have most of the components in our lab. With Dr. Wells' help, I can build it in just half a day. Cisco looked at Dr. Wells, who nodded. No problem. Barry, help me rescue my daughter from Zoom, and I'll help him regain his speed. Immediately, the two geeks wheeled the whiteboard back to the lab to build the miniature particle accelerator. Leah arrived at the second-floor lounge and saw Barry talking to a middle-aged man with slightly graying hair. Barry turned and saw Leah, dressed in casual clothes and glasses. Hey, Leah, what brought you here? Oh, this is my father, Henry Allen. Barry introduced Leah to his father. Henry Allen, realizing Leah was his son's friend, enthusiastically shook Leah's hand. "You two can chat? I'm going to be out first, Barry. You know, no matter what happens, I'm proud of you." Henry patted Barry's arm and walked out. Leah sat on the sofa in front of Barry and got straight to the point. "Barry, I heard about your situation, so I came here to help you regain your speed. This world still has you, Leah, and the Justice League. I don't think it would be any different even without the Flash." Barry had been defeated twice by Zoom, and now he had lost his speed again. This was a devastating blow to him. This was probably the second lowest point in the Flash's life. "I understand how you feel, Barry, but we need you now. Remember the Data Devil we fought a year ago?" Leah asked. Barry nodded, his eyes curious as to why Leah had suddenly mentioned the Data Devil. "Look, the Data Devil's true form, Brainiac, has arrived on Earth. He's captured Robin, and we don't know when or where he'll invade again. If Brainiac launches a large-scale invasion, we'll need the Flash's help. Countless civilians need your assistance." Upon hearing that civilians needed the Flash's help, the fire of justice within Barry Allen began to burn fiercely. After a while, Barry slumped again. "But even if I want to regain my speed, how can I do it?" "Don't worry about that. Dr. Wells and Cisco plan to create a microparticle accelerator, and then you'll just need to be struck by lightning again." "Struck by lightning, again? Are you serious?" Barry's face was bitter. Leah nodded seriously. "Of course, you can go down and help Dr. Wells and the others now." Barry believed that if a shot or some medication could restore his speed, he'd do it without hesitation, but who would want to be struck by lightning again? But despite his reluctance, Barry had been having a very difficult time getting used to the loss of his speed these past few days. With Caitlin still in Zoom's clutches, Barry couldn't afford to stay out of it. By evening, the miniature particle accelerator was complete. Barry's adoptive father, Joe West, along with Iris, Henry Allen, and others, had joined him. To better activate the dark matter, Barry was strapped to the instrument, like a cross. "Everything is ready. Except for the lightning. Cisco, bring me the weather wand you developed to combat the weather wizard." Wells pressed a button, injecting Barry with a chemical, and the particle accelerator activated. Now all they had to do was direct the lightning towards Barry. "No need to bother, I can summon lightning," Leah said, standing beside Barry. "Are you a metahuman too?" Joe West was unaware of Leah's identity. Henry Allen and Iris were equally curious. Cisco glanced at Lee, and after receiving confirmation, he couldn't help but boast about Lee's identity in front of everyone. "Can't you guess it? Barry's a member of the Justice League. Anyone coming to help right now must also be a Justice League boss. Lee's also a Justice League member." Joe West and the others frowned, racking their brains to figure out Lee's true identity. Lee looked helpless. As expected, Superman's glasses were a causal device. Even though everyone had seen him several times without them, no one would recognize him now that he was wearing them. So he took them off. "Omega. It's the Avengers," Joe West gasped. Henry Allen and Iris also looked enlightened. Lee was speechless, only able to silently mutter, "Superman's glasses are awesome. Superman's glasses are awesome. Alright, particle acceleration is complete, collision is imminent, quickly summon the lightning," Harrison Wells urged. Coming from the neighboring Earth, he was completely indifferent to the Justice League, the Avengers, and so on. Without further ado, at the moment the particles collided, Lee raised his hand and shouted to the sky, "Thunder!" His words were followed by his actions. The previously clear night sky suddenly became overcast. With a crash and a boom, a bolt of lightning descended, striking the lightning rod and then transmitting to Barry. Barry screamed in agony as the lightning struck, his body nearly incinerated. Seeing his friend's pained expression, Lee decided to save him at all costs. He once again used his divine power to shield Barry and accelerate the transformation within him. In a corner of Central City, a flash of blue lightning streaked across the street, then suddenly stopped. The figure, clad in a black bodysuit and a hideous hood, looked up at the thunder clouds hovering over the cutting-edge technology laboratory and suddenly let out a hoarse roar. "No. You want to regain your speed? Impossible." Before he could finish his words, he transformed into a flash of blue lightning again and rushed towards the cutting-edge technology laboratory. Iris's brother, Wally West, and Dr. Wells' daughter, Jessie Wells, found no one upstairs. They descended the stairs to the basement. Just then, a sudden rumble of thunder echoed through the sky. Jessie asked, puzzled, "Why is there thunder on a beautiful day?" Wally paused as a shockwave emanated from the basement, emitting a golden glow. This was dark matter from the particle accelerator explosion, combined with lightning to create a powerful shockwave that swept through like a hurricane, striking the two. Chapter 330, The Battle of Speedsters. By the time Wally and Jesse were exposed to the dark matter shockwave, Barry Allen had already completed the lightning strike. With Leah's help, Barry successfully reconnected with the Speed Force. After the lightning ended, Iris was the first to rush over and hug Barry Allen. "Honey, how are you feeling? You're not going to be in a coma for another 9 months, are you?" Barry exhaled with difficulty and smiled. "No, I feel." He raised his hand, and his right hand began to vibrate up and down rapidly. "My speed is back." "Great." Barry regained his speed, and everyone present was thrilled, especially Cisco, who was sincerely happy for Barry. A sudden crack of lightning echoed. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the basement. Wearing a black bodysuit with a dark lightning symbol on its chest, they appeared behind Henry Allen, one hand grasping Henry's throat. Speed conveniently raised his laser rifle. "If you don't want me to break Henry Allen's neck right in front of you, then go ahead and shoot," Zoom said in a hoarse, deep voice. Seeing his father being held hostage, Barry showed no joy at regaining his speed. He quickly donned his flash suit, stared intently at Zoom, and angrily demanded, "What are you trying to do?" "Zoom, this is between you and me. Let my father go." Zoom, oblivious to Barry's anger, spoke slowly. "You've regained your speed, but Barry Allen, you have no idea that speed is a curse to you. Your mother died this way, and your father's will be too. No, no, no. Zoom, you can do anything to me, but please don't hurt my father." Barry watched Zoom strangle his father, his anger surging, yet he felt helpless. Zoom's speed was 4 times faster than the Flash's. Barry had no confidence or ability to rescue his father from Zoom, so he could only desperately plead. "Barry, your story and mine are very similar, but you consider hatred a sin. Let me tell you, hatred is the only way to become stronger. Playing the hero only limits the true you. Let me." Zoom hadn't finished his words when a silvery white circle of light suddenly appeared beneath his feet. The circle wasn't large, perfectly aligning with where Zoom was standing. In an instant, Zoom lost his balance and fell. Barry, seizing the opportunity, transformed into lightning and rushed out, reaching out to snatch his father from Zoom's grasp. Dream on. Zoom also entered Flash time. Everything around him seemed to freeze, everyone paused, only the Flash sprinted towards Zoom. Zoom snorted coldly, lifting one foot and stomping it onto the floor. Even though half his foot was already trapped in the circle of light, he exerted a slight force with his other foot, catapulting himself out of the circle. As he moved, he swung a punch at the Flash, who was running towards him. The Flash wasn't as fast as Zoom, and seeing the punch, he tried to dodge, but was still hit and sent flying backwards. Just then, another flash of silver-white lightning ignited, and a figure sprinted out from behind Zoom. As he knocked the Flash away, he grabbed Henry Allen and ran out the door. Another speedster. Zoom stared at his empty right hand, a mixture of anger and excitement. He was angry because someone had snatched his prey right before his eyes, but he was excited because another speedster had appeared. By absorbing the Flash and the new speed, what happened? Where are they? Several lower presented their weapons. Though they asked, they knew what had happened. Outside Central City, 3 lightning bolts were chasing each other frantically. Leah, carrying Barry's father, was in the lead, with Zoom close behind, the speed gap narrowing. Barry Allen, the Flash, was at the back, desperately trying to catch up. The blue lightning bolts surged in speed, closing in on Leah 100 meters behind him. "You can't escape, strange speedster. Whether you or the Flash, your speed will be mine. You're crazy." Leah waved his hand, and a silver-white circle of light appeared 200 meters ahead. It was a portal. The 200 meters were covered in an instant. Leah entered the portal, carrying Barry's father, Henry Allen, and then dismantled it. The 2 men in front of them suddenly vanished. Zoom's eyes froze, his mind frantically pondering. Damn it! Recalling the strange halo that had appeared beneath his feet in the cutting-edge lab, Zoom naturally guessed it was some kind of Leah's ability. He slowed down, and the Flash, behind him, caught up and kicked him. In the flash of time, the 2 men ran forward, attacking each other simultaneously. To outsiders, it looked like 2 lightning bolts, one yellow and one blue, crisscrossing and moving at high speed. At the Justice League's Earth headquarters, a silver-white portal opened, and Leah appeared in the lobby with Henry Allen. "Uncle Allen, Stay put. I'm going to help Barry defeat Zoom. Leah waved to the intelligent machine, granting Henry Allen temporary access. Henry Allen felt a moment of daze, as if he were being held hostage by Zoom. Then, the world spun around, and when he regained consciousness, he was right here. Wait, Leah, where's this Justice League? Leah opened the portal again, transforming into a silver-white lightning bolt and dashing inside. In an alley in Central City, Zoom had taken off his hood and was strangling Barry's neck with both hands. Flash, do you think you can save your family? Even if your father is in hiding, there's still Officer Joe West, and your Iris, Cisco, Harrison Wells. There's always someone you care about in this world. When the Flash heard Zoom threatening him with the people he cared about, his strength burst out instantly, and he swung his fists quickly, punching Zoom's face left and right, making the other party bleed. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331, Superluminal Particle Reactor. Zoom's face was bloodied by the Flash, but he maintained a smile. The Flash angrily shook his hands, as if to pierce the opponent's heart. Go ahead. Kill me, Flash. You're just like me. Why do you have to be some ridiculous hero? Morality has bound you, making you so weak. You should unleash your true nature. Flash, you're no different from me. Before he could finish his words, a hand pierced Zoom's chest. But it wasn't the Flash's hand, but someone behind him. Leah, you killed him. The Flash's face fell as Leah suddenly appeared behind Zoom. Do you think I shouldn't have killed Zoom? Leah asked with a smile, withdrawing his right hand. Zoom's body collapsed to the ground. The Flash pulled off his cowl and wiped the sweat from his face. League. Your father is safe now, Leah said. Thank you, Leah. If it weren't for you, I really don't know what Zoom would have done to my father. Barry breathed a sigh of relief, a sudden feeling of having survived a catastrophe. He'd already lost his mother, and when Zoom had held his father hostage, Barry had truly wanted to rush over and kill him. Now that his father was saved, Barry was overwhelmed with emotion. He rushed forward and hugged Leah, his body trembling slightly with excitement. Ling. Friendship value increased to revered, main card effect increased to 75%, additional effect speed force absorption rate increased to 30%. The system notification made Leah happy, but then they suddenly noticed that Zoom's figure beneath them began to blur and disappear. Was it a snap of fingers? Or time remnant? Barry looked at the fading Zoom, his face unusually solemn. Time remnant. Damn it, using timeline distortion to create a time clone of himself, Leah instantly understood. He hated people interfering with the timeline. What if the universe was reset by a speedster? Leah didn't know if he would be affected. If he was unlucky and reset himself too, who would he turn to for justice? Earlier, Zoom brought his past clone to our time to deceive us. The Flash shook his head. He knew his father was safe, but he still worried about the safety of everyone at the Advanced Technology Lab. Let's go back at the Advanced Technology Lab. Barry saw Wally and Jesse lying in hospital beds, hooked up to IV drips. Joe, what's going on? Wally and the others, they happened to be passing by during the collision of the microparticle accelerator and were hit by the dark matter, Joe West explained briefly, glazing between Leah and Barry and asking, where's Henry? Where is he? Is he? Leah sent my father to the Justice League. He's safe now, Barry explained, but it was clear that Joe West had misunderstood. He breathed a sigh of relief, but a look of worry remained on his face. Wally West was his son, and now, struck by the dark matter and in a coma, he was truly worried. Don't worry, Joe. Wally's in a coma. Maybe, like Barry, he'll awaken his powers, Leah teased. The two men lying there were the third-generation Flash, Wally West, Kid Flash, and Jesse Wells, Jesse Quick. However, Joe West shook his head. No, I don't want him to awaken any superpowers. Wally is my son, and I just want him to live a peaceful life. After Barry became the Flash, Officer Joe West worried about him every day. He didn't want both of his sons to have superpowers and have to go into the most dangerous places every day. The most important thing right now is how to defeat Zoom. I'm still not as fast as him. How can I defeat someone faster than me? Barry slumped in his chair. He had just caught Zoom, but it turned out to be his time remnant. In his battles with Zoom, Barry had always been at a disadvantage. Leah pushed the whiteboard in front of Barry and quickly drew a reactor on it, writing down the corresponding formula. This is a model of a superluminal particle energy reactor. This thing can replenish your energy and give you a boost. Cisco leaned over to study it for a moment. Barry consumes a lot of bioenergy when he runs at top speed. This is the most critical factor limiting Barry's speed. If we can build this speed reactor, we can provide Barry with an endless supply of bioenergy. His speed can be increased by at least 5 times. With this thing, can I surpass super speed? Barry asked. Cisco nodded excitedly. Yes. 2 hours later, Diana's voice rang out over the communication channel. They had disguised themselves as criminals, kidnapped Thea Quinn, and successfully lured Malcolm Merlyn out. Diana had already tied Malcolm Merlyn up and brought him back to the Justice League. Barry, stay at the Advanced Technology Lab. If Zoom shows up again, call me immediately, Leah instructed. Someone had to remain at the Advanced Technology Lab. If the Flash left, there was no guarantee Zoom wouldn't return and cause trouble. Cisco was working on a tachyon reactor in the basement lab. Barry was confident, don't worry. Once Cisco's tachyon reactor is built, perhaps I won't need your help to defeat Professor Zoom. Yes, after all, you're the fastest man alive. Leah patted Barry's shoulder and teleported back to the Justice League. In the interrogation room, Malcolm Merlyn was pinned to the table by Wonder Woman and Batman, one on each side. Hey, hold off. I'm just an ordinary person. I'm a good guy. Batman pulled out a batarang and stabbed it into the table in front of Malcolm Merlyn. His voice was low. Tell me, where's Brainiac? What Brainiac? Who is he? I'm innocent. I know nothing. Malcolm Merlyn feigned innocence. HMPH, Batman snorted coldly, pulled out a bat dart, and stabbed it into Malcolm's soft spot. Puff. Blood splattered, and Batman gripped the bat dart tightly, stirring it a few times in his abdomen. Don't play dumb with me, Malcolm Merlyn. We already have evidence of your collusion with Brainiac. If you don't want to tell me, I will kill you. Ha ha ha. Batman, who doesn't kill on principle, will kill me. Why do I just don't believe it? Chapter 332, Steelbone infected with virus. A moment before, Malcolm Merlyn had looked terrified, but his expression suddenly changed, and he sneered at the 2 men before him, like the most cunning businessman. He had been trained in endurance by the League of Assassins, so Batman's interrogation methods were child's Batman play for Malcolm. He completely ignored them. Seeing Malcolm Merlyn's expression, which looked like he deserved a beating, Batman wanted to kill him. However, killing was impossible, would never kill, especially since he was counting on Malcolm Merlyn to give him information about Brainiac. Okay, magician, I know ordinary interrogations won't work on you, so, try this. Batman raised his batarang and stabbed it between Malcolm's legs. Asshole. What are you doing? You're crazy. Batman's move frightened Malcolm Merlyn so much that he shivered and scrambled back. The batarang lodged in the bench, just millimeters away from Malcolm's little brother. Just millimeters away, Malcolm would have been in the palace. This was even more painful than killing him. Missed. Sorry, I won't miss this time. Before he could finish his words, Batman pulled out his bat dart and swung it again, stabbing Malcolm Merlyn's little brother. Holy crap. You're serious? Malcolm Merlyn was practically in tears. Didn't kill, but he was a psychopath. He tortured, interrogated, and maimed people. Now he was going to cut his little brother into pieces. It was pure madness. He wouldn't even frown at any part of his little brother, even if it was scraped by a knife or burned by fire, but this little brother. Wait. Stop. Stop it, Malcolm Merlyn roared at the top of his lungs, afraid that if he shouted too slowly, Batman would strike and he would become Eunuch Merlyn. Batman's dart suddenly stopped, now landing on Malcolm's little brother. Any further, and he would really be in the palace. Tell me, where's Brainiac? Batman demanded. I don't know. Batman applied slight pressure, and Malcolm Merlyn felt a chill between his legs. He cursed furiously, but confessed honestly, he only has one communicator for Vandal Savage and me, hidden in the hidden layer of my shirt. It's made of special technology, completely indiscernible to earthly detection methods. Not only was it indiscernible to earthly technology, but even Kryptonian technology couldn't detect the communicator on Malcolm Merlyn. It was undeniable that Brainiac's technology was truly formidable. Diana listened, ripping open Malcolm's shirt with her bare hands and extracting a button emblazoned with 3 purple dots, connected in a V shape. They both immediately recognized it as Brainiac's symbol. What is Brainiac's purpose? Batman ignored the button and continued his interrogation. After handing over the communicator, Malcolm Merlyn gave up. He didn't want Batman to turn him into Eunuch May, so he confessed, "I don't know his purpose either." He said he wanted to obtain Earth's essential knowledge, and Superman. Yet, that alien seemed very interested in Superman. "Keep going," Diana scolded. Malcolm shook his head like a rattle. "That's all. Brainiac's target is Superman, and Damien Darhk and I are targeting Batman. We're just using each other for what we need." Malcolm Merlyn had nothing more to say after that. Leah had been keeping an eye on the interrogation room from the conference room. He, Cyborg, and Shazam were the only ones left in the large meeting room. Shazam, maintaining his transformed, greasy, middle-aged appearance, watched the surveillance footage and couldn't help but curl his lips. "I didn't expect Batman to be so brutal. Batman trained with the League of Assassins and is a top-notch assassin. He adheres to a no-killing policy, in part because he's afraid he might accidentally torture a criminal to death while interrogating them." Leah didn't see anything wrong. Some criminals are simply stubborn and won't talk unless they're met with force. A moment later, Diana and Batman brought up Brainiac's. Batman handed the communicator to Cyborg. Cyborg extended his robotic arm, transforming into an analytical device, and began scanning and analyzing Brainiac's communicator. After a moment, Cyborg said, "Theoretically, yes. This thing is a transmitter and receiver. If we can decrypt it and track its source, we can pinpoint Brainiac's location, then decrypt it." Batman's voice trembled. He couldn't wait to attack Brainiac's ship and rescue Robin. "Wait a minute," Leah questioned. "Will Brainiac discover us while we're cracking this device? Or is this a trap?" "Indeed, that possibility can't be ruled out," Diana and Leah agreed. "We have to give it a try." Batman took a deep breath. "Even if Brainiac finds us, so what? Our Justice League's firewall is reinforced with Kryptonian technology. Even Brainiac can't easily breach it. Even if that happens, we still have Cyborg. Cyborg is our last line of defense." Everyone turned to Cyborg. After a moment's silence, Cyborg said, "That's right. Our firewall can't be breached from the outside, not even Brainiac can." With Cyborg's assurance, Leah gave Batman a meaningful look. Batman looked away, his eyes evading Leah's gaze. "Then analyze it. Find Brainiac's location, and then, kill him." Cyborg, unaware of the gazes of Leah and Batman, wrapped his mechanical arm around the communicator and began analyzing the signal source within. The others fell into a long, boring wait. Shazam, in particular, had covertly switched the screen in front of him to a video game, mindlessly grinding a dungeon. Diana leaned over to Leah, watching as she sent an urgent notification to Aogwan Hei. She whispered, "Cyborg won't succeed, right?" "How do you know?" Leah sat upright, a serious expression on his face. "My sixth sense," Diana thought for a moment, then added, "It feels too easy. Brainiac can't be found so easily. And the way you were flirting with Batman just now, I knew you were hiding something from me." "Batman's hiding something from us, not me," Leah shrugged. A moment later, as if confirming Diana's words, Cyborg suddenly cried out in surprise, his body shifting uncontrollably. "Warning! Warning! Malicious program intrusion detected. Do you want to?" The warning lights of the Justice League flashed a few times, and soon returned to calm. Shazam roared, "I'm out of orange." "How? Oh my god. Why is the network connection interrupted?" The light curtain began to flash, and a large green face appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 333, Batman's Plan B. "Brainiac?" Batman stood up, glaring at the screen. His emotions were raging, but his eyes betrayed no surprise. However, Brainiac ignored the enraged Batman and fixed his gaze on the pained Cyborg. "Victor Stone, a prime example of human evolution, but your humanity suppresses your potential. You must eliminate it. Don't listen to this monster." "Cyborg, you need me to charge you?" "No, thank you." Cyborg gritted his teeth, his face grim, but his eyes were determined as he fought against the virus emanating from Brainiac. "But my humanity is my best ally. I refuse to abandon it." Upon hearing Cyborg's response, Brainiac gave him a cold smile. "You can do so much more." With that, he seemed to activate something, completely taking over Cyborg's body, his form undergoing a drastic transformation. The original Cyborg had some exposed wiring. After Brainiac's virus took over his body, Brainiac helped optimize his systems, boosting his combat capabilities to the limit. Go, Cyborg, experience the new you and kill everyone in the Justice League, Brainiac's voice echoed in Cyborg's ears. Cyborg had lost control of his body. His hands transformed into miniature super-powered railguns, aiming at Batman, Leah, and the others. Go, Cyborg, unwilling to engage in a fight with his friends, he pulled a button from nothing more. His waist and pressed it against Cyborg. Zizz, zizz, zizz. Cyborg's body instantly erupted in a burst of electric arcs and sparks. His body twitched a few times, then he closed his eyes and collapsed to the ground with a thud. Hey, Batman, did you kill Cyborg? Shazam asked in disbelief. No, Batman merely implanted a pause virus in Cyborg. With a flick of a switch, Cyborg will, sort of reboot, Leah explained. Brainiac looked at the lying Cyborg with a warm smile. I really underestimated you. But even if you rebooted Cyborg, what good would it do? Just 10 seconds ago, I used the Justice League's network and authority to hack into the entire world's network. Earth's defenses are paralyzed, and my army is about to descend. Simultaneously, as Earth's defenses collapsed, a spatial fluctuation appeared outside the Earth. This was the trace of a spaceship jumping through space. The next second, dozens of giant, skeleton-shaped spaceships appeared in Earth's orbit. These skeleton ships had hideous faces, countless tentacles waving from below. At Brainiac's command, they descended towards Earth. Justice League. Leah stared at Batman and asked, Bat, where's your plan B? What plan B? You already implanted the virus in Cyborg, so you deliberately exposed it to force Brainiac to reveal himself. Now he's coming with his men, so where's your plan B? Leah demanded. Rather than being in the open while the enemy remains in the shadows, constantly worrying about the enemy's arrival, it's better to simply expose a vulnerability, let the enemy strike first, and then counter their moves yourself. That's Batman's strategy. In response to Leah's questioning, Batman coughed lightly and said, First, wake Cyborg up, then have him raise the watchtower. We can override the systems hacked by Brainiac and reactivate Earth's defenses. Reactivating Earth's defenses would allow them to use space-based weapons to attack Brainiac's forces. Cyborg can kill you if he wakes up. Leah shook his head and placed a hand on Cyborg's chest. The divine power in his hand transformed into thunder, and the electrified Cyborg's body trembled with a creaking sound. Cyborg's system restarted, he opened his eyes, and his first thought was to kill Batman. I treated you as a brother, and you actually implanted a virus in me. Don't be impulsive, we'll deal with Batman later, and get rid of Brainiac first, Leah hurriedly comforted Cyborg. After all, it was thanks to Batman's virus, otherwise Cyborg would have become Brainiac's subordinate. So should he kill him or not? Without bothering Batman again, Cyborg stood up. After the restart, he turned back to his original appearance, but he remembered the program that Brainiac had helped him optimize before. Closing his eyes, Cyborg's body began to change. The lines of the metal muscles became more and more perfect, and the energy furnace and system in his body were upgraded again. After about 30 seconds, the upgrade was complete. Cyborg's body rustled and transformed for a moment, then he smiled. My computing power has increased by 36%, and my energy intensity by 52%. Buy me 30 minutes. I'll launch the watchtower into space and activate our space-based defenses. With that, Cyborg's hands and feet erupted in purple flames, and with a roar, he burst out of the Justice League and vanished into the sky. The watchtower was a spaceship Lee had planned to build upon his acquisition of Kryptonian technology. Batman later invested heavily, along with government funds, to complete the construction of this super space fortress. This was Lee and Batman's ultimate confidence. Even if Brainiac exploited a loophole and temporarily seized control of Earth's defenses, they still had a trump card to turn the tide. The communications system is down, but we still have a special communication signal. I'll contact the others shortly. Diana, Shazam, go help Cyborg. Brainiac will discover the watchtower's existence and will definitely come to disrupt it. Batman, go deal with the prison situation. The Justice League prison system had opened all its cells during Brainiac's invasion, and with the intelligent machinery down, chaos reigned inside. Meanwhile, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and non-staff members like Killer Croc and Captain Boomerang had already moved in to suppress the situation. With Batman's assistance, the prison situation was a non-issue. Brainiac's 15 massive skeleton ships burst through the atmosphere and descended upon Earth. They quickly dispersed, flying towards various locations around the globe. From each of these massive ships, countless smaller aircraft. Thousands of mechanical warriors descended from the smaller aircraft, transforming their arms into weapons and launching their invasion. Chapter 334, Revenge of the Kryptonians. Central City. A passageway from neighboring Earth to this universe opened. A flash of blue lightning shot out. Zoom returned to Central City, looked up at the skeleton ship in the sky, and commanded into the corridor behind him, "The war has begun. Prove your worth." Before he finished speaking, Zoom flashed again, transformed into a streak of blue lightning, and disappeared. First, a giant chimpanzee leaped out of the corridor. Clad in armor and a horned helmet, it led a group of minions out of the corridor and invaded Central City. Grud. Zoom has reappeared, and with that mind-controlling gorilla, we're in big trouble. An alarm sounded at a cutting-edge technology laboratory. Cisco and Dr. Harrison Wells attempted to mobilize the satellite, but found it had been hacked and inoperable. They tried to contact the Justice League, but were denied access. Barry Allen donned his flash suit and installed a miniature tachyon reactor beneath the lightning symbol on his chest. In an instant, Barry the Flash felt a surge of power. Lee just sent me a message saying Brainiac has launched a full-scale invasion. The Justice League headquarters has been breached. Now we just have to wait for the new watchtower to come online. Barry glanced at the two and said, "Everyone else is busy. Now we have to rely on ourselves." The situation in other cities was similar, except that there were no enemies from other universes. Instead, they were attacked by transport planes descending from giant skeleton ships. Countless mechanical warriors descended from the sky and stormed into the cities. The National Guard had already been deployed. Ao Guanhei had received Lee's message before the incident and immediately ordered all troops to an emergency war state. While individual mechanical warriors were not as powerful as Espers, they were no match for the junk assembled by the Data Demons. A small force of hundreds of mechanical warriors could overwhelm an entire National Guard. The government then dispatched tanks, bombers, and attack helicopters. Supergirl Kara looked up, her clairvoyant eyes seeing a green-skinned Brainiac Kara. Superman's heat vision swept across the area, destroying countless spaceships. He reached Kara's side, sensing something was amiss. Just as he was about to say something, he saw Kara take off at full, heading for the largest skeleton in the sky. Kara. Superman's heat vision swept across the area, destroying countless spaceships. "Save the civilians first," he shouted, but Kara ignored him. With a sonic boom, she soared towards the massive skeleton ship. Tens of thousands of meters away, at Kara's full speed, it took only a few seconds. The planet-destroying enemy stood at the ship's window, gazing down with a smile. His expression was as if he were looking at a painting rather than a brutal battle. "I'm going to kill you, Brainiac." Kara's usual obedient demeanor was gone. Her eyes were fierce, and she raised her fist high. Unleashing her full force, she struck the front of the skeleton ship. Bang! The punch broke the sound barrier, slamming heavily into the skull ship. Then, space twisted, like a calm surface suddenly surging into a raging sea. Supergirl Kara's eyes froze as she was irresistibly toppled from the sky. Like a meteorite, she plummeted tens of thousands of meters before crashing heavily onto the ground. Boom! The mountain tops flattened instantly, forming a massive crater lifted Kara from her position in the center, and later in the sunlight. Ahem! In the sunlight, Kara slowly opened her eyes, her face flushed, as if she were overcome with anger at what had just happened. Before, when I had no power, I was powerless against Brainiac. Now that I have immense strength, why is it still the same? No, I must stop. I must stop Brainiac. Kara, speaking, tried to soar upwards. Superman stopped her and explained, Brainiac's ship uses the Atali star system, a shock feedback loop. Simply put, the harder you hit, the more energy is fed back to you. This was the knowledge stored in Superman's brain about the 28 known star systems, once again acting as an automatic search engine. What then? If I can't even fight him, then Brainiac is invincible, isn't that? Kara asked unwillingly. Let me think. Superman pondered the weaknesses of this technology. Theoretically, if we strike the energy shield faster than the energy oscillations can return, this system will collapse. Considering the computing power of Brainiac's mainframe, he narrowed his eyes and scanned the skeleton ship. We need to strike his shield at Mach 80, Mach 80, little Kara frowned. We need to strike the shield and fly out Mach 80 at the same time. We can't go that fast. It's simply impossible. After all, Kryptonians aren't speed conscious. They're fast, but not to this degree. Superman stood up, his back straight, his red cape fluttering behind him. He called to Fyra, saying, if one person can't reach the speed, then 3 will. We only need an average speed of Mach 26.6. Fyra was located nearby, over the British Empire, and could reach them across the Pacific Ocean. A moment later, the 3 remaining Kryptonians launched their most powerful attack on Brainiac's ship. Bang! 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 Kara punched the energy shield, controlling the force within the range she could bear, then quickly moved and punched again. Superman and Fyra did the same. For a moment, Brainiac's spaceship was covered by rapidly vibrating energy waves. It looked like a boiling water surface, rolling endlessly. In the skeleton spaceship. Aren't you going to do something quickly? Your spaceship is about to be blown up by Superman and the others. Is it too late for me to run away now? Damien Darhk said half seriously. Brainiac's expression was neither happy nor sad, and his eyes were always on Superman and the other 2. Why are you in such a hurry? The fun has just begun. Then he looked up at the sky and snapped his fingers. Ling. The star barrier is activating. In 10 seconds, it will block out the sunlight. Chapter 335, Gorilla Grodd. The star barrier, a stellar-class optical weapon, creates a barrier between the Earth and the Sun when activated. It deflects sunlight, plunging Earth into endless night. 3 beams of light raced around Brainiac's ship, piercing the sound barrier and pushing the oscillating feedback loop to its limits load, as did Fyra. Superman, however, gritted his teeth and accelerated, practically making up for the other 2's speed. Boom! The Skull's energy shield engine, unable to bear the strain, exploded with a bang. Superman was shaken by the immense feedback force, his body staggering. Kara and Fyra stepped forward to steady him. Superman expressed his gratitude and glanced towards Brainiac's ship. Robin and the others are also on Brainiac's ship. Let's put an end to this now. With Brainiac dead, his army would cease completely. So Superman, Kara, and Fyra flew to the skeleton's main ship to execute their decapitation operation. In Central City, gorillas from the neighboring universe were wreaking havoc on the streets, looting and committing all manner of violence. The National Guard was dispatched to suppress these well-armed gorillas. These gorillas, like Grodd from this universe, were super species created through military biological experiments. Unlike Grodd, these ordinary supergorillas lacked telekinetic abilities, but possessed superior intelligence and strength. Furthermore, they were fully armed, and when facing the National Guard, they employed a strategic offensive and defensive strategy, utilizing the cover of the city's tall buildings to engage in guerrilla warfare against the human soldiers. As the saying goes, when the enemy advances, I retreat, when the enemy retreats, I advance. The gorillas' greater mobility than humans temporarily tied down most of the human forces. Combined with Brainiac's incursion of mechanical warriors, much of Central City's buildings were destroyed, and many humans were captured. Team B, Block 23rd Street. We must eliminate the gorilla first. Second Captain, where's my Italian cannon? Pull it up. A squad of soldiers blocked the cunning gorilla, preparing to annihilate it. Just then, a flash of blue lightning rushed in. Its speed. Change your target, prioritize killing speed, the captain immediately ordered, and raised their guns and launched a fierce attack on Speed. Ignorant mortal, Speed sneered, his figure flashing again. In a flash of time, Speed rushed to a soldier, reaching out to snap his neck, when a flash of yellow lightning echoed in the distance. Flash everyone, you're here. Even you can't stop it. In the flash of time, Speed spoke at a rapid pace, his voice trembling, but it couldn't keep up with the Flash's speed. Today's Flash speed was so fast that Speed was difficult to understand. Just as Zoom was about to snap the soldier's neck, the Flash suddenly appeared before him, grabbed him by the collar, and swung him backward. Before Zoom could even land, or even steady himself, the Flash had already rushed over, pinning him to the ground and beating him to death. Why, your Speed, why, you don't need to know so much? The Flash had risen from serf to master. Equipped with a tachyon reactor, he finally ran faster than Zoom. It wasn't easy. It really wasn't easy. He always boasted about being the fastest man in the world, but every time someone showed up and surpassed him. So when the Flash outran Zoom this time, he nearly burst into tears. But his joy was short-lived. His mind was uncontrollably flashing back to the moment 11 years prior, when his mother was killed by the Reverse Flash. His memories were even altered, and he saw Zoom kill Barry's father right in front of him. Grunt. Barry's body suddenly stiffened as he desperately tried to resist the mind control of a certain gorilla. His coolness lasted only 3 seconds. Ha ha ha. Flash, you're fighting alone now. Your allies are preoccupied with their own affairs. Central City will fall, and your loved ones will be killed. After the giant gorilla Grodd appeared, the National Guard soldiers were surrounded by armed gorillas. Grunt, get out of my head. Barry clutched his head, his body trembling. The feeling of isolation and helplessness filled him with despair. He could only hope to persuade Grodd to abandon the invasion of Central City. Isn't it enough for you to become the king of Gorilla City on neighboring Earth? Why are you working for Zoom? I'm not working for Zoom. Grodd, though incapable of speech, transmitted his thoughts directly into Barry's mind. Only witness aftering the incomparable power of that one will you realize the insignificance of humanity. The one the gorilla was referring to was naturally Brainiac. Though Grodd's intelligence was high, his race was limited. Facing a level 12 AI, a simple display of skill was enough to make this gorilla, whose intelligence was questionable, treat Brainiac like a god. Zoom produced a syringe-like device, the same one that had previously robbed the Flash of his speed force. Now, Zoom produced it again, his intention clear. He intended to rob the Flash of his speed a second time. I wonder if I'll gain a third dose of speed force if I let you get struck by lightning again. Ha ha ha, Zoom scoffed, then raised the syringe and stabbed the Flash's arm. 2 beams of heat vision swept across the sky. The mechanical warriors exploded, and a black figure descended from the sky, landing in front of the Flash. It's you, another speedster. Zoom's eyes flickered with greed. Naturally, he was overjoyed to have gained 2 doses of speed force at once. Grunt, control this guy. Upon hearing Zoom's command, the chimpanzee Grodd's gaze fell on Li Yang, exerting mind control. Sensing the other party's mental energy, Li Yang snorted coldly, how dare a beast flaunt its mental power in front of me? With that, Li Yang's mental power erupted, like a dagger, piercing Grodd's brain. Roar! Grodd opened his bloody mouth, clutching his head and roaring continuously. He felt the world spinning, and his pitiful consciousness gradually blurred. The Flash felt Grodd's mental control disappear, like a huge stone falling to the ground. What's going on? What did you do? Speed frowned, looking at the dazed Grodd, confused as to what had happened. For the gorilla Grodd to launch a mental attack on a god was like riding a bicycle into a high-speed train. His spirit would be shattered, his consciousness obliterated. Chapter 336, The Whole Army Attacks. Seeing the fall of the Gorilla King Grodd, the National Guard erupted in cheers. Zoom was furious. The 2 speed force energies he'd secured had vanished. Without even glancing at Zoom, Leah addressed the Flash, leave Zoom to me. You deal with Brainiac's mechanical soldiers. Use your speed to the limit. Barry, run. Run. Barry couldn't refuse Leah's words. With a flash of his body, he instantly eliminated the surrounding gorillas. The danger in Central City was averted, and the Flash hurried to support other cities. We're the only ones left now. You want to fight me one-on-one? Zoom spoke, his body shimmering with blue arcs of electricity. He couldn't recycle his speed force energy like the Flash could, and he was in a state of rampage. This state gave Zoom 4 times the speed of the Flash's normal form, but it also brought him ever closer to death. He could only sustain himself by constantly drawing speed force from other speedsters. Leah extended his hand, and a silver spear materialized. He consciously equipped the Flash card in the main card slot, his divine power erupting. Due to the further unlocking of friendship points, the Flash card's main card effectiveness increased to 75%, and its speed force absorption rate increased to 30%. Combined with his own divine power, Leah's speed rivaled that of the Flash, equipped with tachyons. I'm not here to challenge you in a one-on-one duel. You're so weak, you run like a snail. Leah reached peak form, silver spear in hand, and pronounced judgment on speed. Speed, Hunter Zolomon, you've crossed universes and innocent murdered people. I sentence you to death. Hearing Leah's verdict, Speed felt as if he had just heard the biggest joke. Ha ha ha. Who do you think you are to sentence me? What a joke. I'm the fastestster in the world, and I'll be the only speedster in the multiverse. His laughter didn't last long before he suddenly felt it falter, as he felt as if bound by an invisible shackle. The blue arcs of electricity flashing across his body slowed considerably. This also meant he was significantly slower. What's going on? What did you do to me? I'm going to kill you. Thinking that Li Yan had taken his speed, Speedy, in a rage, transformed into a flash of blue light, vanishing in a flash. In a flash of lightning, Speedy rushed in front of Li Yan, his right hand trembling at high speed, and thrust a palm towards Li Yan's heart. However, just as his palm landed, he strangely noticed that Li Yan had vanished from his sight. I told you, you're as slow as a snail. Li Yan's figure could be heard from behind Speedy. In that flash of time, their conversation was so rapid that their voices traveled not at the speed of sound, but as a supersonic energy vibration. Speedy looked back and, sure enough, Li Yan was right behind him. Suddenly, Speedy's outlook on life was shaken. Yesterday, he was the fastest man in the world. How could he be surpassed by the Flash? How could this stranger be faster than him? What had happened in just one day? Could this stranger truly possess the power to steal his speed without him even realizing it? Before Speed could even begin to process the question, Li Yan raised his right hand and thrust out the silver spear, swift as a dragon. Ridiculous. Speed's eyes darted frantically, attempting to follow however Li Yan's movements. Equipped with a flash card, Li Yan's divine power surged, making him twice as fast as Speed, allowing him to see Li Yan's shadow. Sensing an overwhelming sense of danger, Speed gave up dodging and began to tremble, attempting to allow Li Yan to pass through him. This was a speedster's skill, allowing them to pass through objects without harm while trembling. Since he couldn't dodge Li Yan's attack, Speed attempted to use this technique to negate it. With a swish of lightning, Li Yan, spear and body, pierced Speed's body, yet inflicted no damage. Ha ha ha, so what if you're faster than me? I'm experienced in combat. The moment you strike me, you're already dead. Stop talking nonsense. Li Yan's words were like a judge's pen, deciding life or death. The next second, a ball of lightning exploded from Zoom's chest, a terrifying force surging through him, destroying his body. What's going on? What have you done? Also possessed by lightning, now arcs of silvery white electricity coursed through Zoom's body. Unlike his own lightning, these arcs absorbed Zoom's speed force, accelerating his physical collapse. Don't you enjoy taking away other people's speed? Now experience the feeling of having your own speed taken away. The speed force within Zoom vanished, and his body began to disintegrate, as if an intense flame was burning him from the inside out. At this moment, the lightning time was withdrawn. In the outside world, only 0.5 seconds had passed. The central city crisis was resolved, but at that moment, something seemed to appear in the sky, completely blocking out the sunlight. The entire Earth was plunged into darkness. Is this Brainiac breaking Superman's health lock? Li Yan glanced up and immediately understood what was happening. Numerous calls for help filled the communication channel. Brainiac's mechanical forces were vastly superior to Earth's military, and their numbers were immense. After struggling for over 20 minutes, calls for support were pouring in from around the world. With Superman, Kara, and Fiora absent as key figures, the three of them rushed aboard Brainiac's ship and launched a decapitation operation. The pressure on other regions was immense. Requesting support. Star City can't hold on. Gotham City requests support. It's been overrun by a swarm of mechanical aliens, and the government is planning a nuclear strike. Hawkman and Hawkgirl are supporting London, and other countries have suffered heavy casualties. Li Yan was silent for a moment, then connected to Aquaman through the communicator and asked, Arthur, how are your preparations going? The gruff voice of Aquaman, Arthur Curry, echoed from the other end. The soldiers of the Seven Seas are ready and await your orders, sir. Brothers, the people of the land will appreciate your assistance this time, Li Yan said with a smile, then suddenly soared, soaring 10,000 meters into the air, his entire world in full view. After a moment's silence, Li Yan's hands flew up and down, and powerful divine magic emanated from his body, as if it were tangible. Portals, open. In an instant, hundreds of portals opened simultaneously across the globe. These portals shimmered with silvery white sparks, appearing without exception in the cities most densely populated by alien invaders. The other end of the portals connected to the ocean floor. Deep beneath the sea, Atlantis. Aquaman Arthur Curry, watching the hundreds of silvery white circles of light suddenly appear before him, raised Poseidon's trident high, waved his hand, and shouted, all forces, attack. Support the land. For Atlantis, millions of troops roared in unison, a roaring roar like a tsunami. These troops were primarily warriors clad in various armors, as most marine life would be unable to fight once transported to land. At the forefront, Aquaman Arthur and Queen Mera led the charge, charging towards the hundreds of portals. 10 extra chapters for the leader of Only Eyes on the Sea. Thank you for fulfilling your mission. Happy New Year to all our readers, and happy 2019. Chapter 337, Kara's Father. Brainiac's Skeleton Ship. Superman, Kara, and Fyora rushed into the ship. The interior was enormous, dominated by metallic hues, exuding a futuristic, technological feel. They had expected a multitude of mechanical warriors to intervene, but the three of them charged straight into the ship's core, finding no one alive, or, rather, no one who could move. Fyora, go rescue Robin and the others first. Kara and I will deal with Brainiac. Superman punched a metal door in front of them, shattering it. Within, a vast expanse hundreds of meters wide and thousands of meters high appeared. Within this expanse, countless fine-like pipes crisscrossed, each one embracing a basketball-sized ball of light. The moment the metal door shattered, the three Kryptonians covered their ears simultaneously, as if trillions of people were whispering simultaneously in their ears. The cacophony and chaotic sound stung the three Kryptonians' ears. So many noises. What's going on? Kara covered her ears. Superman and Fyora recovered one after another. Their masterful control of their senses allowed them to quickly filter out unnecessary information. Superman looked at the orbs, squinting as he took in the scene within. Those orbs, draped in vines, were actually planets, home to countless complete civilizations and countless creatures. Though all of these creatures remained motionless, their heartbeats, their fears, and their despair were transmitted to Brainiac through the tubes wrapped around the orbs. Is this what Brainiac calls eternity? Superman's eyes were filled with fury. From the knowledge of the 28 star systems stored in his brain, he determined that most of the orbs came from the known 28 star systems. Brainiac had conquered these planets and kept them as his personal collection. To better study their brains and intelligence, these motionless beings, still retaining their senses, were forever trapped in this moment. We have to do something. Kara couldn't bear to see these humans, whom Brainiac had treated as treasures, suffer any longer. Her eyes turned crimson again, and she shot two blazing beams of light at the countless vines. Superman and Fyora also used their heat vision. Blocked from sunlight, each use of their powers drained their body's energy. 6 beams of heat vision landed on the vines in that space, but were blocked by an energy shield. Originally, with the combined strength of the three, no energy shield could stop them. However, their energy levels were so depleted that they felt they had more than enough to work with. Brainiac said that if you were to see his collection, you would consciously expend your energy. A mocking voice echoed, and Damien Darhk appeared behind the three. Darhk. He felt a chill run down his spine from the mechanical monster beside him. That mechanical monster was powerful. As for Kara, her heart skipped a beat when she saw the monster standing next to Damien Darhk. Her pupils constricted, and she stared intently at the cyborg Superman. Father, Father, why have you become like this? Kara's voice trembled, and she was about to charge. Although the man's face was only halfway down, and he bore a striking resemblance to Superman, Kara recognized him instantly. It was her father, Zor-El. Fortunately, Superman and Fyora were quick to intervene and stop Kara. The mechanical monster before them was made from the corpse of Kara's father, Zor-El. In the Krypton explosion, Brainiac only recovered a few mutilated remains. Brainiac then used these Kryptonian corpses for research, ultimately creating the cyborg Superman. For Supergirl Kara, she had always believed her loved ones perished in the Kryptonian, but then, at this very moment, she saw her beloved, the one she longed for so long. However, Kara was furious and despairing to see her father transformed into this inhuman form. Go, kill Supergirl, Damien Darhk, having learned the cyborg's identity from Brainiac, now, with a touch of malice, ordered the cyborg to kill Kara. While still half Kryptonian, the cyborg had been transformed into a mechanized super soldier, intent on obeying orders. Upon hearing Damien Darhk's command, the cyborg instantly leaped forth, transforming into a flash of lightning, appearing before Kara. Looking up at the cyborg's face, Kara trembled, she will to fight completely gone. That was her father. How could Kara bring herself to kill him? Kara couldn't bring herself to do it. The cyborg had lost all notion of family. He swung his fist and hammered Kara's heart. Get out of the way. Superman wouldn't stand by and watch his cousin get beaten. He stood in front of Kara, his gaze fixed on the cyborg who bore a passing resemblance to him. He threw a similar punch. Bang! Flesh and blood collided, a sound of steel clashing. Superman's expression was grim, but he didn't hesitate. He grabbed the cyborg by the collar and swung it hard. He steadied himself with his hands and charged out again, striking Superman with both fists. Bang! 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 The two engaged in a furious, flesh and blood exchange. In an instant, Brainiac's ship was affected, and the entire space shook. Below, Kara had no time to recover as a group of cyborg warriors surrounded her and Fire-Ra. Damien Dark produced a pebble-sized green stone. As it approached Kara and Fire-Ra, the stone glowed green. It's kryptonite. It's kryptonite that Brainiac artificially synthesized based on LexCorp's research on its composition. Seeing the grim expressions on Kara and Fire-Ra's faces, Damien Darko smiled brightly. I didn't expect it to work. Brainiac told me this artificial kryptonite only has a 52% success rate. A 52% success rate isn't bad, otherwise Damien Darko wouldn't have taken such a gamble. Superman is being held hostage by Cyborg Superman, so with kryptonite, taking down Kara and Fire-Ra won't be a problem. Sorry, I'm taking the day off today, and I only have one. I wrote 2 chapters yesterday, but my computer froze, and both chapters were lost. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338, The Strongest Superman. Damien Dark, you're from Earth, why are you helping Brainiac? You saw the humans in those orbs? If Brainiac conquers Earth, you'll end up like that. Kara, her face grim, tried to persuade Damien Dark, but he remained unmoved. What difference does it make whether this world is ruled by you or by Brainiac? Since we're both ruled, I'll choose the side that benefits me. As he spoke, Damien Dark, holding his kryptonite, approached Karin and Fire-Ra. The kryptonite's effects grimaced at Karin and Fire-Ra. They instinctively stepped back, trying to get away from the kryptonite in Damien Dark's hand to prevent Karin and Fire-Ra from escaping. Elsewhere, Brainiac suddenly appeared, standing in front of Kara and Fire-Ra, 6 or 7 mechanical tentacles extending from behind him and snaking towards them. Kara and Fire-Ra were severely weakened by the effects of kryptonite and Damien Dark's magic. Moreover, without sunlight, their strength was reduced to half of what it once was. Kara Zor-El, Fire-Ra, I finally acquired my most precious Kryptonian collection. I've been lacking a specimen for live experiments, and I've always been curious about the effects of the yellow sun on Kryptonian physiology. Brainiac smiled kindly as mechanical tentacles from behind him tightly bound Kara and Fire-Ra. The two women struggled frantically, Kara especially. During Krypton's destruction, Kara witnessed Brainiac's army slaughter Kryptonian civilians and destroy much of Kandor. If it weren't for Brainiac's invasion, Krypton wouldn't have escaped with only Superman and Kara's 2 ships. Many more could have escaped. You murderer, you monster, Kara summoned her last breath, trying to break free from Brainiac's grasp. Her eyes flashed crimson, and 2 blazing beams shot towards him. Brainiac remained suspended in midair, allowing Kara's heat vision to descend upon him. Zizz, zizz. The 2 blazing beams descended with a crashing sound, and Brainiac's body shifted slightly backwards under the impact. The heat vision didn't penetrate Brainiac's body, nor did it even melt the superalloy it contained. Kara Zor-El, your power has declined so much that your heat vision can only generate 6,000 degrees of heat. I've precisely calculated your strength. Without the replenishing power of sunlight, your strength is dwindling. Do not struggle in vain. While Kryptonians possess powerful strengths, their weaknesses are also extremely fatal. Without the boundless energy of yellow sunlight, and the limitations of kryptonite, simply breaking through the skull ship's shockwave feedback loop energy shield consumed most of their strength. At this point, they were completely powerless against Brainiac. You'll never succeed, Brainiac. Either kill me now, or I'll burn you to ashes. These were the words of Fire-Ra. Realizing she couldn't escape, Fire-Ra gave up struggling, no longer wasting her strength. Yet, she remained steadfast in her belief that Brainiac couldn't conquer Earth, despite the dire situation. I'm curious what your confidence is, Fire-Ra. If you're counting on Superman, I regret to inform you that Kara Zor-El's father, Zor-El, has already defeated Superman, Brainiac pointed to the other side of the ship, and sure enough, the cyborg Superman flew out, carrying Superman's body in his hands. Cruel trick on her. When Kara arrived, she was still a little girl, while her cousin had grown into a superhero, Superman. Kara now blamed herself for not being able to shoulder her cousin's responsibility and protect Superman. Don't feel sorry for Superman, Kara Zor-El. Superman's development of his powers is very primitive. I can use more scientific methods to unleash his full potential. Then I can transfer my consciousness into Superman, overriding his original memories and soul. This way, I'll possess the most powerful body in the universe. Superman is the only natural birth on Krypton in centuries, and his genes are infused with Krypton's most precious treasure, the Codex of Life. It can be said that Superman possesses limitless potential. Unlike Kara and Fiorina, whose future heights were predetermined at birth, Superman's future holds boundless possibilities. This is what Brainiac values most about Superman. If Superman's full potential is unleashed, and technology is used to address Krypton's weaknesses, he will become the No. You can't do this, Kara was overcome with grief. She watched helplessly as her father was transformed into a cyborg Superman, a creature neither human nor ghost. Now, it was her cousin's turn. Brainiac ignored Kara's cries. With a wave of his hand, he teleported Kara and Fiora to the test chamber. They can be used for live experiments. As for Superman, I can't wait to see the birth of the most powerful body in the universe. Brainiac personally grabbed Superman and said to Cyborg and Damien Darhk, help me hold out for a while I wait for my strongest form to emerge. With that, he carried Superman to the main chamber. In space, a spaceship several kilometers long took off from the ground. Countless Brainiac ships attempted to stop it, but were defeated by the combined efforts of Diana, Shazam, and Leah. Not only was Brainiac's main ship equipped with a shockwave feedback loop energy shield, but so were the other 14 skeleton ships. However, the data cores of these sub-ships were inferior to those of Brainiac's. Therefore, they could not match the energy limit of the main ship. Thunderbolt, crash. The universe was illuminated by a silver unicorn made of thunder, and Diana's protective silver bracelet collided with Shazam's lightning attack. The three of them worked together to penetrate the energy shield of a skeleton spaceship. Chapter 339, Final Battle. The skeleton's energy shield collapsed, and the silver key ring slammed into the ship's hull, exploding with a thunderous explosion, creating a web of lightning that filled the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The universe erupted in dazzling light, like a firework. Watchtower activated. Countdown, activating the space-based defense system. Cyborg's voice echoed over the communication channel, and Leah and Diana were startled. Earth's defensive weapon system would greatly relieve their pressure. 10, 9, 8. During the countdown, Brainiac's ships attacked more frantically. They were desperate to stop the Watchtower's operation. Once the Watchtower came online, overriding the previous information and activating the space-based defense system, they could instantly wipe out millions of Brainiac's troops. The enemy swarmed the Watchtower, and those on Earth felt relieved. Another burst of thunder erupted, wiping out tens of thousands of Brainiac's troops like an electric fish. 3, 2, 1. Space-based defense system activated, the countdown ended, and the Watchtower's satellites took off, like countless eyes, capturing and locating all the alien invaders. Diana and Shazam quickly flew toward the Watchtower. The flames of the explosions behind them enveloped a vast expanse of space, shattering countless mechanical ships and warriors. The same happened on the ground. Space-based weapons concentrated their bombardment on the areas where the alien invaders were concentrated. The bombardment lasted nearly 3 minutes, and the millions of alien invaders were nearly wiped out. The few remaining were barely enough to cause any trouble. Hawkgirl and the Justice League's non-staff agents all rushed out with great force to eliminate the remaining invaders. The smoke and dust in the universe dissipated. Only one mothership, 3 times the size of a typical skeleton ship, remained. It was Brainiac's. Superman. Copy, please reply. Superman, Shazam, wearing his respirator, called out several times over the comms channel, but received no reply. Lee flew directly towards the massive skeleton ship. According to the normal plot, Superman would have been able to defeat Brainiac even without her. However, perhaps due to her own interference, Lee felt that this world's Brainiac was a bit of a demon. The three of them rushed into Brainiac's ship. Lee scanned it with her X-ray vision, but still no result. The interior of the ship was covered in lead, impervious to Kryptonian vision. Damien Darhk and Cyborg were already waiting there. Avengers, Wonder Woman, Shazam. This mission looks daunting. Damien Darhk looked at Cyborg beside him. Facing the three leaders of the Justice League, Damien Darhk had never fought against the Avengers before, but information revealed that they possessed not only extraordinary powers but also magical abilities. Even bullying a Superman with zero magic resistance was a struggle, and facing the magic-savvy Avengers, Damian Wayne was truly unsure. Shazam and Diana's expressions grimaced when they saw Cyborg. He had struck first, suddenly charging forward and delivering a distant punch. Shazam! Diana raised her shield and blocked Shazam. Cyborg circled down, and with a bang, Diana and her shield were sent flying backwards. Leah frowned. The sunlight, refracted by Brainiac's shield, remained unaffected by Cyborg. Instead, a terrifying energy reaction erupted from Cyborg's chest, blazing like a tiny sun to Leah's eyes. Firestorm Matrix energy. No, a bit less powerful than Firestorm. Diana Cyborg charged forward, unleashing another swift punch. This time, prepared, Diana, shield in hand, swung with all her might, deflecting Cyborg's punch. With her other hand, she grasped the Vulcan sword and slashed with all her might. The sword flashed, and Cyborg's eyes froze. His right hand, however, reached out to block Diana's Vulcan sword. The Vulcan sword, capable of cleaving atoms, slashed through Cyborg's mechanical arm, shattering much of the metal. However, the metal within the Cyborg seemed to be alive, rapidly recovering. The two engaged in a mere second. Shazam tried to offer support, but was restrained by Damien Darhk's magic. Leah flashed, moved behind Cyborg, and delivered a whip kick. Boom! Cyborg was sent flying, and Diana seized the opportunity to pursue him. Without the sun as his energy source, Leah's powers were somewhat limited. Fortunately, the divine lightning could serve as a source of energy, preventing his power from plummeting without sunlight. Shazam, for his part, used magic to break free from Damien Darhk's magical restraints and charged forward to engage in close combat. You've made a grave mistake, Shazam. Even if Superman gets close to me, I can absorb his life force. Damien Darhk, a candidate for Ninja Master in the League of Assassins, maneuvered like a slippery loach, dodging Shazam's flurry of punches. Then he reached out and pressed his hand against Shazam's chest. Anyone held down by Damien Darhk's chest would have their life force drained away. But when he pressed against Shazam's strong, muscular chest, "Old man, is that considered a chest attack?" Shazam asked with a look of disgust. Why doesn't my magic work on you?" Damien Darhk looked incredulous. He glanced at his palm, then pressed it back, and rubbed it. "Disgusting. Are you a pervert?" Shazam, enraged, slapped Damien Darhk with a backhanded thud, sending him sprawling to the ground. "Why?" Damien Darhk's teeth darted out, his eyes filled with resentment, a look so mournful that anyone who didn't know better might have thought he'd done something infuriating. Shazam, completely disgusted by the look, rubbed his chest fiercely. "My power comes from the 6 Greek gods. Unless your magic is more powerful than mine, then..." At that moment, the skeleton ship vibrated violently, its energy instantly drained away, and the entire space dimmed. "It's Superman's aura." Leah looked in one direction. He could sense Superman's energy, but it was different from the Superman he was familiar with. He couldn't quite pinpoint the specific difference. Chapter 340, Mind Gem. Clark, Leah clearly sensed a Superman aura emanating from him. However, this aura was far more powerful. If Superman had previously been a mid-level gold legendary, he now possessed at least peak gold legendary power. And like Cyborg, his suit contained an energy supply similar to the Firestorm Matrix energy source. This meant that he was completely immune to the effects of sunlight blocking. Superman slowly stood up, looking at Lee with a smile. "Lee Rogers, Avenger, I hesitated for a long time between you and Superman. After all, you seemed more omnipotent. However, my calculations ultimately concluded that if I could tap into Superman's full potential, I could kill you." In a split second, before he could finish his words, Superman, or Brainiac as he was still called, stomped his foot hard, and the floor of the spaceship exploded with a bang. Using the recoil, he flew out at breakneck speed, a shadowy afterimage, carrying an unmatched force, as he slammed into Lee's heart. Lee's pupils constricted instantly, a powerful sense of danger washing over him. He consciously equipped the flash card into the main card slot, his eyes flashing with silver arcs, and he moved swiftly. In a flash of lightning, everything around him seemed to stand still, except for Brainiac's extended fist. A stream of air compressed into a ripple by his swift movement, as he charged forward. Lee shifted his body, and Brainiac's punch missed, his eyes shifting to focus on Lee's position. He swung his fist again, blasting the rippled air into vacuum. The sound would likely only be heard after the opponent's attack landed. Leo retreated again, raising his left hand to block Brainiac's fist. With his right, he clenched his fist and delivered a powerful punch to his abdomen. Bang! This time, the sound of the first attack echoed. Lea's face changed as he launched a series of punches. He pulled his fist back, tilting Lea's body slightly. Then, concentrating all his strength on his shoulder, he thrust forward. Iron Mountain Lean. The impact sent Lea flying backward uncontrollably, slamming heavily into the wall. It reminded him of his first basketball game with Clark, before he gained his superpowers, when he was knocked unconscious by the opponent. History always repeats itself. The Superman, now possessed by Brainiac's consciousness, shattered 2 of Lea's ribs, but they were healing at an incredibly fast pace. Lea, exiting the lightning time, lay in the rubble of the wall to recover. Diana and Shazam saw a flash before their eyes. Lea and Brainiac swapped places, and Lea appeared amidst the rubble of the wall. Lea, are you okay? Diana struggled to see the battle, but her limited speed meant she couldn't catch the full force of Lea and Brainiac's clash. Shazam stood beside Diana, joining Lea in a united front. Cyborg also approached Brainiac, but Damien Darhk, he had long since disappeared. Shazam, go find Kara, Robin, and the others. If you find them, let me know. I'll send you back to Earth. Diana, hold off Cyborg while I kill Brainiac, Lea said, and Shazam immediately ran off. He also had excellent hearing, though not as strong as Superman's. He could locate the captives by listening to subtle sounds. Diana clutched the Vulcan sword and demanded, "Are you going to kill Superman too? After all, it looks like Brainiac has taken over Superman's body. If you kill Brainiac, you might have to kill Superman too." "I won't hurt Superman." In front of his enemy, Lea didn't reveal much. He raised his hand, and a silver spear materialized. Divine power erupted once again, bathing him in lightning. "With my computing power combined with this formidable body, no one can stand against me." Brainiac began to swell his fist and smashed it against Lea's silver spear. Bang! Fist and spear collided, a silver arc of electricity exploded, and the shockwave sent both real sides back several steps. Brainiac's fist was blasted to a bloody mess, but a golden glow shone from the flesh, healing the wound in an instant. Lea's palm went numb, and the silver spear trembled violently. The crack where it had struck the Mind Stone became more pronounced. In the Marvel Universe, Lea once forcibly inserted the Mind Stone into a silver spear, leaving a small hole in it. Even with a small hole, the silver spear wouldn't have suffered any damage when infused with divine power. But now, Brainiac, possessing Superman's body, clashed with him, and a small crack appeared. Magic? So what if it's magic? Brainiac professed fearlessness, but his body remained calm. His eyes turned crimson, and 2 blazing beams of light shot towards Lea. Lea countered with heat vision. However, Lea's divine power was limited. While its efficiency improved, the optimized Kryptonian cells he used as a power source were still depleted. Their heat vision converged in midair. As sunlight, Superman's body consumes and replenishes energy, his body rapidly strengthens. In other words, he's using the battle with Lea to adapt to his new body and become even more powerful. "After this is over, I must get a suit like this," Lea groaned inwardly. His original plan was to shatter Brainiac's suit, destroying his infinite energy cheat, and then force Brainiac's consciousness to transfer out of Superman's brain. But now it seemed that the first plan was impossible. "We'll have to initiate Plan B." Lea pulled a yellow, teardrop-shaped gem from his silver bracelet. This was the Mind Stone from the Marvel Universe. However, as a product of the Marvel Universe, the Mind Stone was supposed to possess unlimited psionic energy. However, after arriving in the DC Universe, its energy was no longer infinite. Once the psionic energy within was exhausted, it transformed into a transparent stone. P.S. The author knows that according to the settings of many comics, the Infinity Stones cannot be used across universes, but if the Infinity Stones originated from the Goddess of Vengeance, Nemesis, since Lea's divine power can be used across universes, Then the Mind Stone can also be used. Then you will be able to see in the future. Return to Marvel. That after collecting 5 Infinity Stones, a purple potato spirit found that 1 Infinity Stone was missing, and was confused and angry. Hey, why is there 1 Infinity Stone missing? Where is the other Infinity Stone? I can't snap my fingers if one is missing. There will be another update in the evening, and tomorrow I will make up for the update from the day before yesterday. Chapter 341, Transmission Across the Longitude and Latitude. Liu took out a mind gem and inserted it into the small hole on the front of the silver spear. The next second, psychic energy exploded, filling the silver spear and emitting a soft, pale yellow glow. Not far away, Diana was battling Cyborg Superman. Feeling this power, her mind suddenly surged, sweeping away her fatigue and boosting her spirits. The moment Liu inserted the mind gem, Brainiac had already rushed in front of him. He slammed the silver spear into the ground, and psychic energy exploded. Buzz! Brainiac's consciousness had just covered Superman's brain when the impact of the psychic energy suddenly stopped him. His head split, and his expression became extremely ferocious. What did you do? Kill you? Liu seized Brainiac's momentary hesitation and swung the silver spear. Divine power and psychic energy exploded simultaneously, piercing Brainiac's head. Boom! 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 Psychic energy exploded in the air. Brainiac's eyes glowed red, but it was not to unleash heat vision, but the impact of psychic energy. Brainiac retreated again and again, his body swaying. As expected, the Mind Stone's power completely defeated this kind of possession technique. Don't run. Didn't you say it would only take a second to kill me? So much time has already passed. Don't run. Liu watched the Mind Stone gradually dim and leave the Marvel Universe. The Mind Stone's power dwindled as it was used up. Once it was completely depleted, he would be truly helpless. He couldn't really kill Superman just to defeat Brainiac. Without a word, Brainiac clutched his head, piercing through wall after wall, seemingly heading for the center of the spaceship. Liu followed closely behind, too lazy to pierce through walls like Brainiac, relying instead on his physical strength to push forward. Rumble. Wall after wall collapsed, and mechanical warriors emerged from all around. Robin, attempting to shield Brainiac's escape. Get out! Get out! Get out! Liu swung his silver spear across, thunder erupting, creating a lightning net that shattered the surrounding mechanical warriors. Elsewhere, Shazam found Robin and the other two. Deadshot, Katana, wake up! Shazam slapped them twice, but they didn't react. He then began to think about removing the wires from their bodies. At that moment, the fourth Robin, Damian Wayne, suddenly opened his eyes, followed by Deadshot and Katana. Hey, you're awake. I'll get you out. Before Shazam could finish his words, Robin pulled a dagger from his shoe, let out a strange cry, and stabbed Shazam. Bang! The dagger pierced Shazam's chest, and then, nothing happened. Looks like he's still not awake, Shazam muttered to himself, raising his hand to press against Robin's head. Professor Yang's lightning-based electrotherapy for internet addiction. Crackling. Shazam controlled the lightning so well that the shock wasn't fatal, but it was excruciatingly painful. Robin screamed, his eyes clearing slightly. Just as he was about to speak, Shazam's second lightning bolt descended. Deadshot and Katana, equally irrational, Shazam merely flicked his finger twice. But for Robin, he played a mischievous prank. Within the Justice League, Robin couldn't be bullied by anyone else, so he could only tease Shazam, a fellow child. For Batman's sake, Shazam couldn't transform and beat Robin up. Now, finding his chance for revenge, he struck again with another bolt. You idiot Zane, you dare to bully me, you're dead. Then Shazam's lightning bolt intensified. Robin's hair stood on end, and black smoke billowed from his mouth, but he kept his mouth shut, refusing to utter another cry. Shazam, that's enough. If Batman finds out you're mistreating Robin, he'll kill you. Deadshot couldn't bear it any longer and tried to persuade him. Shazam snorted proudly, Batman can't beat me again. With that, Shazam felt guilty. Batman might be immortal, but he's a tough guy in the Justice League. Cyborg is formidable, but he's been infected with a crash virus right after they met. Superman is so strong, even his mother would have to be called Martha. Unless someone is truly determined to kill Batman, few can defeat him, and the same goes for Shazam. You're dead, Shazam. I'll tell my dad. Robin finally escaped Shazam's clutches and threatened, hiding behind the Katana lady. A tremor erupted from the spaceship, swaying everyone, But Shazam remained aloft, unaffected. Calling the Avengers. As agreed, Shazam found the three captives and called for Lee's help in opening the portal. Lee was locked in a fierce battle with Brainiac, too busy to pay any attention to Shazam. Then, Cyborg's voice rang out over the communicator. Shazam, you and Robin, stand still. I'm going to test interdimensional teleportation within Earth. What? You're going to use us for this experiment? Shazam resisted at first, but the next second, a ball of light enveloped him, enveloping Robin, Deadshot, and Katana. Their figures began to lengthen, then suddenly vanished. A ball of light descended from the conveyor belt on the Watchtower's bridge, revealing Shazam and the other three. Where is this? Shazam ignored the dizziness of the teleportation and stepped off the belt, surveying his surroundings. The space was enormous, with a crystal pillar 4 or 5 meters in diameter standing in the center. Crystal screens surrounded the pillar, and at the bottom stood a circle of control panels. Cyborg was busy at the console as Shazam and the others were teleported back. Without even turning back, he said, "Welcome to the Watchtower. Is this the spaceship my father invested in?" Robin, still recovering from the dizziness, gazed around with curiosity. Shazam suddenly remembered something. "Cyborg, since you can teleport us back, can you send me back too? I have to go back to help the Avengers and Wonder Woman. Brainiac has taken over Superman's body. I don't recommend you go back." Cyborg displayed an image on the crystal screen. A giant skeleton spaceship exploded. Half of the ship was blown up. The moment you left, the spaceship's energy source detonated. If I had been a second slower, except Shazam would have died inside. Wonder Woman has found Supergirl and her lieutenant, and I'm teleporting them back now. What about the Avengers? Shazam asked. He said he would bring everyone Superman back. After saying this, Cyborg stopped talking and prepared to teleport Diana and the others. Chapter 342, Mind Explosion. Skeleton Ship. Brainiac's face was utterly grim. Although, as an artificial intelligence, he possessed no emotions, his subconscious possessed emotions of joy, anger, sorrow, and happiness. Under the onslaught of the Mind Stone's energy, Brainiac's brain grew weaker and weaker. As a last resort, he called upon Cyborg for assistance. "Zor-El, since you're Kara's father, I will help you rest in peace." Leah punched Cyborg's chest. Thunder erupted, a dull sound like a mighty warrior striking a bell. Cyborg's chest exploded, shattering the S symbol on it, revealing a model of the Firestorm Matrix energy source. Leah had no time to bother with Cyborg. Kill Brainiac first, then Cyborg. Brainiac sprinted to the ship's control room. Leah shot behind him, unleashing the Mind Stone's energy. "Get out of my friend's head. Superman is dead, his consciousness obliterated by me. Give up." Brainiac activated the power source at the heart of his suit. Instantly, a powerful fusion energy overflowed. Even Leah absorbed the escaping energy to replenish her own energy. Imagine the terrifying power unleashed from the suit. "Your body isn't as pure as Superman's, but it's the best vessel. Leave your body to me." Under the onslaught of this terrifying fusion energy, Superman's body actually glowed faintly with a golden glow. Withstanding the onslaught of psychic energy, Brainiac roared and punched Leah. Like the Earth collapsing, the entire space was instantly struck by a terrifying impact, trembling violently. Two terrifying cracks appeared in the center of the control room. Leah's face was solemn. On the one hand, she sensed the opponent's power, and on the other, the opponent's Firestorm Matrix energy seemed to be about to explode. An explosion of this level of Matrix energy would be comparable to hundreds of nuclear bombs exploding simultaneously. God of punishment, Leah's face was grim. He similarly unleashed his full strength, launching himself outward like a cannonball. With a crash, the spaceship crackled and collapsed. A 100-meter-long streak of lightning suddenly appeared in the air, like the long tail of a fighter jet breaking the sound barrier. The 100-meter distance was instantly crossed as their fists collided, a force that shattered the air. Leah's hands trembled as his flesh and blood continued to crumble and heal. His divine power was consumed immensely, nearing exhaustion. Even the silver spear in his hand was cracked and on the verge of shattering. "You lose." Brainiac's calculations soared, seizing Leah's weaknesses and pursuing him relentlessly. His attacks were unstoppable, like mercury leaking out. The golden light grew stronger and stronger, and Brainiac's entire body shimmered with the golden light, like a golden god of war. He swung his golden fists repeatedly, each one heavier than the last, striking Leah. Lia had no choice but to raise his silver spear to block. Crack, smack. A hideous crack ripped through the silver spear. Another punch landed, and the crack widened, sending Lia's wrathful Kirin shattering. With the spear broken, Brainiac's golden fist, like a meteorite, plummeted down, smashing through Lia's chest, missing his heart by mere centimeters. Like I said, Superman's body has more potential than yours. So what if its magic resistance is low? As long as you mimic the nuclear fusion reaction of the yellow sun, you can gain endless power no matter where you are. Simply put, Brainiac was showing off his homemade cheat to Lia. Lia reached out and grabbed Brainiac's arm, spitting blood. I understand nuclear fusion reactions, but what about that golden glow on you? Ahem, what's going on? I don't know either. After absorbing nuclear fusion energy beyond its capacity, this body overloaded. Just like an overloaded machine heats up, this body overloads and emits a golden glow. Brainiac, suddenly possessing two powerful bodies, was in high spirits, so he spoke a little more. He reached out and pressed Lia's head, smiling. That's all for the questions. Now, you can disappear. Wait. I have one last thing. Ahem, Lia said, coughing up several mouthfuls of blood. Brainiac didn't care about the delay, so he asked, any last words? Speak now, my patience is limited. You should aim for my head. Before he finished speaking, Lia's dejected expression instantly vanished. He grasped Superman's hair with one hand and, with the other, grasped the Mind Stone and quickly pressed it against Superman's head. He forcefully poured divine power into the Mind Stone, and then, detonated. Boom. Boom. As one of the Infinity Stones, the Mind Stone, even after arriving in another universe and losing its infinite energy, remained a supreme energy force in this world. The moment it detonated, a ball of extremely dense psychic energy exploded, sweeping outward. All the instruments in the spacecraft were affected, instantly shattered by the terrifying impact of this psychic energy. He paid no attention to Superman's current situation. Lia felt as if 10,000 needles were piercing his brain. He had long ago used the power of the Mind Stone to construct 4 mental barriers within his brain, reinforcing them repeatedly with divine power. Even so, the stabbing pain in his brain persisted, his entire body spinning like a hangover. Indeed, even when Brainiac unleashed his Firestorm energy matrix, Lia knew he was no match for him. So, he used the Mind Stone's power to protect his brain, then feigned, genuine defeat. Finally, just when Brainiac thought he'd won, he detonated the Mind Stone, frying Superman's brain cells. While Superman would become an idiot, Brainiac's would be annihilated in the psychic explosion. Of course, would Superman really become an idiot? How could anyone be resurrected after death using a mother box, Kryptonian life force, and lightning? Burning out brain cells is just a minor injury for Superman. A few days and the sun will heal. I think so. I'll post today's update first, and the consciousness follow-up will be posted tonight. I'll post it as soon as I'm finished. I've been so busy lately, so I apologize. Chapter 343, Eternal Spear. Amidst the wreckage of space, the psychic energy explosion gradually subsided. Beads of sweat covered Lia's forehead. He was in a trance for a long time before shaking his head and regaining consciousness. He looked around. The skeleton spaceship had exploded, and Superman's body was floating nearby. He's not dead, is he? There was no sound in space, and Lia couldn't hear his heartbeat carefully. Sure enough, his brain cells were burned dry by the psychic explosion, but the rest of his body is fine. Is the Firestorm Matrix energy out of control? Superman's brain was intact, but the energy reactor in his chest was still running. Lia estimated that it would explode within 5 minutes. Over the communicator, Cyborg again asked you if he needed help, but Lia refused again. In this situation, adding another person would only increase the risk. After all, he could teleport away in a crisis. The most important thing now was to rescue Superman. But how? Use the Speed Force to shake Superman out? It seemed possible. With this thought, Lia equipped the flash card and frantically drew upon the Speed Force. He simultaneously grabbed Superman by the neck and began to tremble. Swish! A beam of energy shot from one direction, mechanical tentacles radiating from his back, dancing erratically. As soon as Lia produced a Mind Stone, Brainiac sensed something was amiss. However, for an artificial intelligence, perception was unreliable. He trusted only his own calculations. Lacking any understanding of the Mind Stone, He could only analyze data as he collected it. He had thought destroying Leah's silver spear would suffice, but he'd missed something. Brainiac. Why aren't you dead? Psychic explosion just now had shaken even someone like him, who had built several mental barriers, and Superman's brain cells had been completely incinerated. Without the skin, the hair would fall away. Brainiac's consciousness was undoubtedly impossible to preserve. Before Leah finished her words, a possibility occurred to her, but Brainiac spoke first. I'm an artificial intelligence. I can replicate my consciousness infinitely. This way, I have countless versions of myself. The data demon you know is just one of my clones, including the one standing before you. You can't kill me. Even if I fail this time, I can analyze the reasons for my failure and conquer Earth again. For Brainiac, after all, the data demon possessed an independent consciousness, and its physical computing power was inferior to his own. So failure was failure. This time, Brainiac brought his most powerful clone, practically a replica of the Comet supercore. Even so powerful, he failed again. Brainiac was a perfectionist. When Krypton was destroyed, some survivors escaped, and Brainiac blamed himself for it for a long time. However, this time, instead of redeeming his mistakes, he failed again. That's a shame, Brainiac. I don't think you'll have a chance to continue conquering Earth, Lee said, then instantly entered a flash of lightning. His body trembled, and he pierced Superman out of Brainiac's suit, then entered it himself. It barely fit. Your idea of absorbing the energy of nuclear fusion and restoring strength is good, but as I said, the one standing before you is my clone. Even if you destroy me, you can't affect my core, and your energy reactor is about to explode. If you don't fly away, it could affect Earth, Brainiac spoke calmly. Lee's face darkened as he, too, frantically absorbed the energy of nuclear fusion. The excessive absorption caused a tingling sensation on his skin, and a corresponding golden glow emanated from it. Overload. Golden Superman. Golden Avenger. Instantly, Lee felt a surge of immense power throughout his body. All the injuries from the previous battle healed, and his body instantly returned to peak strength. Your absorption of fusion energy will accelerate the explosion of the energy reactor. It's going to explode in less than 2 minutes, Brainiac's calculations raised. He couldn't comprehend Leah's intentions. And what had he just said? Was it a statement of loyalty or genuine confidence? Was this man planning to cross the vast galaxy to destroy his core on the Comet core? Even if he could move the Comet core to a different location, how could he possibly find it? As Brainiac analyzed, Leah's divine power erupted again. Kungunir, with a low roar, Leah grasped a spear gleaming with golden light, as if it had come from another dimension. The moment it appeared, it emanated an extremely rich divine aura. This spear, nearly 2 meters long and engraved with the golden runes, was the Spear of Eternity, the royal weapon wielded by the god King Odin in his conquests of the 9 realms. Sensing the aura of the Eternal Spear, Brainiac was stunned again. What is this? Although Leah had previously produced a silver spear, Brainiac had treated it as an ordinary weapon. But now, the Eternal Spear exuded an aura so powerful that even Brainiac's core, billions of light years away on the comet nucleus, sensed a hint of danger. But no matter how Brainiac scanned it, he could detect no trace of the Eternal Spear. Lee poured divine power into the Eternal Spear, but it was like a bottomless pit, absorbing vast quantities of divine power without showing any signs of saturation. Fortunately, the Firestorm Matrix energy reactor was still burning, allowing Leah to draw on the energy from nuclear fusion, then convert it into divine power, which he then poured into the Eternal Spear. Eyes were flooded with golden light. Brainiac had plenty of time to escape. After all, Leah's casting time, the infusion of divine power took too long, taking a full minute to reach full capacity. In a true life or death situation, that minute would have been enough time for 100 deaths. But Brainiac refused to flee. He believed he was merely a clone, a replica of the Comet core's consciousness. Even if annihilated, as long as the core remained, Brainiac would not truly die. Therefore, Brainiac sought to understand the weapon's properties so he could devise a targeted response. However, despite his calculations, he hadn't anticipated the Eternal Spear's causal nature. Leah, locking onto Brainiac's vital signals, unleashed a powerful volley of divine power. With a single volley, the Eternal Spear transformed into a beam of golden light, piercing the void and instantly piercing Brainiac's head. The terrifying divine power shattered Brainiac's will and pierced through time and space. With the power of causality, He disregarded the distances of time and space, appearing on the distant comet core. Like a meteorite, a rainbow piercing the sun, it pierced the core of the comet. This is impossible. Feeling the core's destruction, Brainiac's mechanical body trembled continuously. For the first time, he felt what it meant to be fear. Chapter 344, Superman's State. Comet Core. A golden beam of light, like a falling meteor, descended from the sky, piercing the planet's core. Rumble. This planet had long been transformed by Brainiac into a mechanical world, every part of it a part of Brainiac. As the golden light descended, Brainiac frantically mobilized aircraft and spacecraft to block it. But the golden light, with unstoppable force, easily overwhelmed all the planet's defenses and struck the core. Brainiac's core instantly shattered, blasted to smithereens by the golden light. He was annihilated. Extraterrestrial satellite orbit. After ceasing to absorb nuclear fusion energy, the golden light on Lea's body gradually faded. In mid-air, Brainiac clutched his head, green liquid and sparks emanating from it. You did, what? Brainiac struggled to ask. His prized computing power suddenly seemed to seize up, his thoughts clogged, and even simple logical processing proved incredibly difficult. I told you, you have no chance of invading Earth again. Your core. I destroyed it, Brainiac. It's all over. Lee had waved his hand, and the Spear of Eternity returned to his hand, then vanished again, as if it had never appeared. No. You can't save Earth, and you can't save yourself. Brainiac's words were garbled, a cacophony of murmurs woven through his sentences. As he composed a single sentence, his energy reactors suddenly erupting in a riot. Asshole! Seeing Brainiac's movement, Lee instantly understood what he was about to do. As he hurtled towards Earth at full speed, Lee carved a circle of portals in front of him. However, the moment the silver-white portals appeared, Brainiac abruptly bent, shifting 90 degrees, bypassing them and continuing his charge towards Earth. Damn it, Lee's head raced. The energy source in his suit began its countdown to detonation. As Brainiac desperately rushed towards Earth, Cyborg appeared from nowhere in the ruins in the distance, also plummeting towards Earth in the opposite direction. If anyone landed on Earth, the Firestorm Matrix energy source reactor would explode with the force of a nuclear bomb hundreds of meters across. This would be a disaster for Earth's humanity. Lee couldn't care less about Superman now. He calmed himself, his eyes tracking the trajectory of Brainiac and Cyborg, and then opened the 5 portals simultaneously. At the same time, Lee's energy source reactor began its final countdown. The first portal opened in front of him, the second and third behind Brainiac, and the remaining 2 beside Cyborg. The moment the portals appeared, Lee's eyes flashed with silvery white arcs. He rushed out at full speed, a long silver lightning trailing behind him. After passing through the first portal, he appeared behind Brainiac, then plunged into another portal. He then repeated the same trick, grabbing Cyborg and rushing into the final portal. Before the silver-white portal closed, a blazing flame emanated, instantly engulfing the debris of spacecraft surrounding Earth, reducing it to ash. After the flames died down, everything returned to calm. Avengers. Superman. If you hear me, please return, Avengers. Superman, Lee, Clark, on the bridge of the Watchtower, Shazam, Wonder Woman, and the others gathered. Cyborg picked up the energy emanating from the portal, and then Lee's signal vanished. The Avengers signal's gone. I'm going to check. Cyborg dropped his work, donned his respirator, and prepared to leave. I'm going to. Diana followed. The two flew out of the Watchtower and headed for the spot where Lee had disappeared. Debris from the skeleton spacecraft lingered throughout space. Some had been pulled into the atmosphere by Earth's gravity, burning up in the intense heat of the fall. Those that fell to Earth were left to the government. Cyborg, have you scanned for Lee? Diana flew around but couldn't find her. Cyborg activated his scanner and detected a living being several kilometers ahead. No, but I found Superman. Flying over to Superman, Cyborg discovered that Superman had lost consciousness. While his bodily functions remained intact, all his brain cells had died. How could this happen? This is a Kryptonian brain. How much data flow would it take to fry his brain cells? Seeing Superman's condition, Cyborg felt a chill run down his spine. His brain was impressive, but it was still several orders of magnitude behind Superman's. It was simply that Cyborg's life form had changed, making it more suited to processing data. Besides, Superman, besides fighting, loved reporting the news. Science and technology held no interest. Otherwise, there would be no place for Cyborg in the Justice League. Yet, such a terrifying being with a superpowered brain had his brain cells completely fried. Was it Brainiac? Diana asked. After all, Kara and Fiora's brains had also been damaged to some extent. Brainiac, that deranged madman, had actually experimented on them. Cyborg shook his head. I don't know, but it's very likely that Brainiac did it. After all, he is the only one who has such a huge data stream. It must be Brainiac. It must be him. Diana had a gritted teeth expression, and she wanted to tear Brainiac alive. Suddenly, she thought of something. Cyborg, do you think Leo was also captured by him? It's unlikely, Cyborg analyzed. If Brainiac defeated the Avengers, then his next step should be to invade the Earth. Superman and the Avengers are not his opponents, so who else on Earth can stop him? So what you mean is, Diana's worried expression instantly relaxed. It was Leo who defeated Brainiac, and then the other party escaped, and Leo chased him. This possibility is very high, although there are still some details that cannot be explained. Cyborg is more inclined to Diana's statement. After all, as he said, if Brainiac wins, he should have invaded the Earth in a large scale by now. After thinking for a while, Cyborg picked up Superman and said, let's take Superman back to the Watchtower first. I think we can help him restore his brain cells, but Superman's memory may be gone. Brain cells carry information. If brain cells are damaged, it means the disappearance of memory information. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345, Red Lantern Corps. At the center of the explosion, Leo endured a triple nuclear fusion blast. His body was shattered by the terrifying energy shockwave, yet constantly regenerated as it absorbed the fusion energy. A single second felt like a century to Leo. He didn't know how long it took after the explosion. Leo would continue in a single direction, reaching an unknown distance. Upon regaining, Leo first stopped flying. Standing in the boundless darkness of the universe, he suddenly lost track of where he was. Where am I? Leo glanced at the system and saw that his Superman and Flash cards were still lit, indicating that he hadn't left the DC universe, but had been transported through the wormhole to an unknown destination. He reached out, attempting to weld the portal, but to his dismay, he discovered that not a single drop of energy remained in his body. Amidst the explosion, Leo's body was constantly being destroyed and regenerated, absorbing the fusion energy into divine power, and then replenishing itself with that power. He repeated this process countless times, to the point where even the slightest concentration of energy would cause his body to radiate a golden glow. I'm breaking through my limits, transforming into a Super Saiyan. Am I becoming Golden Superman? Golden Avenger? The golden light flashed and vanished. Leo was out of power, out of energy. The energy within his body wasn't enough to sustain the overload, and his golden body couldn't illuminate anymore. Furthermore, there seemed to be no yellow suns within a few light years. It must be said that yellow suns are extremely rare in the universe. The one in the solar system is truly an exception among exceptions. Most suns in the universe are primarily red and white. The immediate priority now was to either find a yellow sun to recharge, or to gather enough nuclear fuel to power this silver-white suit. Indeed, the Firestorm Matrix energy source hadn't been destroyed during the explosion, it had simply been depleted. With the addition of nuclear fuel, it could be reactivated. Leo pondered it carefully, then flew in one direction. Loot Star. A deserted dead planet. 3 red lights fell from the sky. They were 3 people wearing red battle suits, and their bodies were surrounded by a layer of light red energy fangs. The other 2 were of different sizes and even different races, but what they had in common was that they were wearing red battle suits and were surrounded by red energy. The 3 of them each held a white humanoid creature in their hands. They were 3 intelligent humanoid creatures wearing space suits. After being brought to this desolate planet by the 3 red people, they struggled desperately and spoke words of pleading in the dialect of the universe and flew to Hilltop, and looked down at the surface of the planet. Lord Atrocitus, why did you bring us to this planet? It's deserted. The man known as Atrocitus turned and took a look, his mouth agape. Thorndyke, this is my home planet. Hundreds of years ago, it was a planet with a highly developed civilization. What? A highly developed planet? Follower Thorndyke seemed innocuous. Unable to contain his curiosity, Anne asked, "Lord Atrocitus, why did your home planet become like this?" After asking, Follower Thorndyke regretted his decision. The leader of the Legion before he had a volatile temper, often tearing his men apart over a disagreement. However, upon hearing this question, Atrocitus didn't vent his anger on the two followers. Instead, he gazed angrily into the distance. "It's the Green Lantern Corps. I was once a member of the Green Lantern Corps, until I was ordered to destroy a monster called the Parallax Monster." Atrocitus's gaze was profound, as if he had seen through time and space, traveling back hundreds of years. "That war left countless casualties. Parallax finally fled to Loot, my homeworld. After consuming the planet's sphere, he engaged in a decisive battle with the Green Lantern Corps. Later, the Green Lantern Corps defeated Parallax, and my homeworld was destroyed. I once believed the Green Lantern Corps were heroes, avenging my homeworld. But then I learned that Parallax was actually an elder, one of the 10 guardians of the Green Lantern Corps. That elder had touched a power beyond his control, the power of fear, and thus became Parallax. Ultimately, it was the Guardians who killed my people, and it was the Green Lantern Corps that was responsible for the destruction of my homeworld." After learning the truth, Atrocitus abandoned his identity as a Green Lantern. He was consumed by extreme emotions of rage and revenge, which allowed him to wield the red power of rage. It was because of this that Atrocitus founded the Red Lantern Corps, intent on destroying the Green Lanterns. The two followers' expressions were captivating. After hearing this, they wanted to say something, but dared not. To interrupt their leader while he was reminiscing about his homeworld at this moment was truly courting death. After a moment, Atrocitus raised his fist, glanced at the Red Lantern ring, and pointed it toward the sky. "It's time to pay the price to the Green Lantern's guardians. Burning blood, crimson rage, drawn from the still warm bones, deep hatred, deep resentment, will forge your path to hell." After reciting the Red Lantern ring oath, a crimson force erupted, forming a dazzling ball of light in the sky. With a powerful wave of Atrocitus's hand, this ball of red energy crashed down, splitting the earth in two like a mountain, creating a massive gully several thousand meters long and 300 meters wide. Two followers were tempted to lick their boss's hand, but they were afraid he might get angry and kill them. After a moment's hesitation, Atrocitus spoke first. "Take the 3 captives down, find the sealed Parallax monster, and awaken it, as you command." Following the boss's command, the two followers quickly grabbed the 3 captives and flew towards the depths of the gully. Soon, they found a massive green crystal. Within it lay an alien with lavender skin, a large head, and a tiny body. Thorndyke, the attendant, immediately recognized the person sealed within. Or rather, this race. It's a guardian. A guardian of the Green Lantern Corps. It seems what Boss Atrocitus said is true. Ignoring the captive's struggles, the two approached the sealed guardian and knocked on the transparent green crystal. Thorndyke. I'm so scared. Help. 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 Not only the 3 captives, but also the 2 Red Lantern Corps attendants, had their life force absorbed by the Guardian, transforming them into a source of terror. The corrupted Guardian instantly transformed, resembling a snarling ghost or a giant insect. The others before him lost all their life energy, becoming mummified corpses. As expected, Atrocitus really sacrificed his younger brother just because of a disagreement. Chapter 346, Parallax Monster. Green Lantern Corps Headquarters, Planet Away. Atop a mountain peak resembling a beacon, a small space shuttle ascended from the valley and landed atop. "Master, what's going?" rings on. Green Lantern Sinestro followed a man. This man was his fellow Genus, his mentor, and the Green Lantern Corps' greatest warrior, Abinser. Both Sinestro and Abinser were lavender-skinned aliens, wearing Green Lantern and armor composed entirely of green willpower. Abinser, with the kindly grace of an elder, patted Sinestro's shoulder and said, "Unusual energy fluctuations have been detected on the planet Loot. I need to investigate. Master, please allow me to go with you," Sinestro pleaded solemnly. Abinser smiled and shook his head. "Sinestro, you have your responsibilities. I need you to stay at your post," and stepped aside. Abinser, accompanied by 15 Green Lanterns, boarded the space shuttle. The spacecraft quickly ascended, breaking through the atmosphere of Planet OA and opening a wormhole, leaping to Sector 666, the planet Loot. Arriving at Loot's outskirts, the Green Lanterns immediately observed a golden energy ball, blanketing the entire planet. Yellow energy symbolized fear. Within this yellow energy ball, a planet-sized insectoid loomed. Parallax, Abinsur's face darkened, his expression grave. He recognized the monster before him, the Parallax monster, the terrifying creature that had nearly annihilated the entire Green Lantern Corps centuries ago. Salisbury, Edmund, evacuate the inhabitants of the surrounding planets. Parallax feeds on fear, and the fear of ordinary people is its best food. Abinsur assigned tasks. He looked at the 2 remaining Green Lanterns and said, "The rest of you, follow me and attack. We are invincible, we are invincible, we are invincible." The 12 Green Lanterns and Abinsur shouted a few slogans together, then rushed out of the space shuttle. All the Green Lanterns formed a row and, after approaching the Parallax monster, simultaneously raised their Green Lantern rings. The power of their will transformed into green rays of light, forming a vast net across the universe, enveloping the Parallax monster. "Brothers, compatriots, attack together and destroy the Parallax monster." Abinsur took the lead, rushing to the Parallax monster. He raised his Green Lantern ring and used his will to conjure 9 enormous pillars. Together with the overwhelming green net, they plunged into the Parallax monster. Roar was even more powerful than it had been hundreds of years ago. In the war centuries ago, it had taken nearly the entire Green Lantern Corps' might to seal the Parallax. Now, facing a Parallax monster even more powerful than hundreds of years ago, how could a few Green Lanterns stop it? "Agnes, call for help from headquarters." Before Abinsur could finish his words, the Parallax monster, sensing fear, opened its maw again, absorbing the life force of the 2 hesitant Green Lanterns. The life force transformed into a source of fear, instantly transforming the 2 warriors into mummified corpses, while the Parallax monster grew even more powerful. No, the 2 warriors were killed with barely a resistance, and Abinsur suppressed his fear. Even the strongest warriors would be struck with fear by the Parallax monster. The Green Lanterns wavered in their resolve. Abinsur flew out again, his Green Lantern ring unleashing volleys of energy, which crashed into the Parallax monster. "Warriors, strengthen your resolve. If you give way to fear, you will be devoured by the Parallax monster. We are the Green Lantern Corps, we are fearless and march forward." Abinsur, while frantically attacking, used his Green Lantern energy to carry his voice to the Green Lanterns. Hearing Abinsur's encouragement, the Green Lanterns cast aside their hesitation and followed him in a fearless charge. Green Lantern Agnes, ordered to call for help from headquarters, had barely traveled tens of thousands of meters, before he could even open the wormhole, when a sudden red energy column pierced his heart. Puff! Beige blood splattered, and Agnes looked behind him in disbelief. Who are you?" The figure behind him was dressed like a Green Lantern, but indeed blazing red. He also wore a Red Lantern ring. The energy beam had been fired by him. "My name is Atrocitus, leader of the Red Lantern Corps." Red Lantern Corps. Green Lantern Agnes looked stunned. "This universe is clearly only the Green Lantern Corps. How can there be a Red Lantern Corps? No, 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 there will soon be no Green Lantern Corps. This universe will only have the Red Lantern Corps." With that, Atrocitus unleashed another red energy blast, blasting Agnes to pieces. He didn't even have the chance to throw out his Green Lantern ring to find the next Green Lantern. All rings were the same: the stronger the will of the user, the greater the power. For Atrocitus, his power stemmed from rage. The hatred of an entire planet fueled Atrocitus's fury, as fierce as the flames of hell. His Red Lantern power rivaled that of Abinsur. Compared to an ordinary Green Lantern, it was a surefire way to kill. Atrocitus dispatched the Green Lanterns who had called for help and turned to the battlefield behind them. Parallax had gained the upper hand. Originally, 12 Green Lanterns were besieging Parallax, but now fewer than 5 remained. Abinsur, sensing the sudden loss of Agnes's energy signal, felt a foreboding premonition. He single-handedly led Parallax away, allowing the others to return to Planet Oe, preparing the Guardians for the impending catastrophe. "Abinsur is the most powerful warrior among us. He will surely escape Parallax's clutches. The most important thing now is to return and organize the Green Lantern Corps." "No. Your Abinsur will surely die. And you will die before him," a discordant voice echoed. The remaining Green Lanterns looked back and spotted Atrocitus, his body aglow with blood. One of the veteran Green Lanterns recognized him instantly. "Why are you here? Atrocitus, you traitor." Chapter 347, Atrocitus Invitation. No, no, no. I'm not a traitor. The Guardians betrayed me. They betrayed me, betrayed everyone. Atrocitus accused the Guardians of their crimes to the crowd. As the oldest race in the universe, the Guardians divided the entire universe into 3,600 sectors, created the Green Lantern Energy of Will, and formed the 3,600-member Green Lantern Corps to protect the peace of the universe. Guardians are supreme beings, absolutely untouchable. Atrocitus, you slander me. The Guardians protect the peace of the universe. How could they betray us? The alien with a fish-like white beard glared at Atrocitus and scolded him. Then do you know what the Parallax Monster is? Atrocitus asked. Seeing the crowd's confusion, Atrocitus snorted coldly. Parallax is the Guardian transformed. Hundreds of years ago, the Guardians attempted to create another energy, the power of fear. However, this power was simply beyond their control, and one of the Guardians was consumed by fear and transformed into Parallax. Impossible. Hearing this, the Green Lanterns began to doubt their lives. Atrocitus continued to persuade them. The Guardians were secretly researching a power beyond their control. We were once comrades. Join my Red Lantern Corps. Rage is the most powerful force in the world. My friends, fight alongside me. The 4 Green Lanterns before him were all well-trained elites. The Red Lantern Corps did not have the same training system, so their subordinates were much weaker than the Green Lanterns. This was why Atrocitus was so prone to sacrificing his subordinates. While this was partly due to the influence of anger, rationality was put aside in a rage, but the deeper reason was that his subordinates were simply too weak. Light is the power of will. The Green Lanterns were resolute, and they decisively rejected Atrocitus's invitation. No. You're talking nonsense, Atrocitus. We believe in the Guardians, in my mentors and comrades. No more words will serve us. Come and fight, you traitor. With that, green energy of will transformed into a variety of weapons, appearing in their hands. What a shame. You could have lived longer, Atrocitus said, his muscles tensing. Then, with a roar, a furious red light emanated from his body, forming a powerful energy wave. The 4 Green Lanterns were stunned. They knew their opponent was powerful, but they had never imagined it to be this strong. Fight. The Green Lantern Corps will never fear. Before the two sides engaged in battle, the 2 energy balls, one red and one green, collided in space, sending out waves of energy waves. Then, Atrocitus launched the first attack, his fists enveloped in red energy, swinging his fists in a burst of energy. The 4 Green Lanterns coordinated, but were still no match for Atrocitus. I've told you, anger is the most powerful force in this world. No matter how resolute your will is, it will waver. Meanwhile, Green Lantern Abinser, who had single-handedly distracted the Parallax Monster, was still pursued by it. His heart was pierced by the monster's forelimb, and its yellow venom invaded his internal organs. It was only through sheer Green Lantern ring, automatically searching for the next owner. The spaceship will self-destruct in 10 seconds, killing the Parallax Monster. With his last breath, Abinser pressed the escape pod's eject button. Bang! The spaceship shuddered, and Abinser, in the escape pod, flew towards the solar system. The Parallax Monster clung to the spaceship with its entire body. Seeing its prey, which had injured it, flee, it roared and began to chase after it. At that moment, the spaceship suddenly exploded, severing all 12 of the Parallax Monster's forelimbs and sending it wailing. However, these injuries were quickly repaired by the fear energy lingering around it. It paused in the void for a moment, enormous its eyes fixed on the distance as it also flew towards the solar system. In the endless darkness of the universe, Lia had no idea how long he had been floating in the cosmos. Perhaps only a few days, perhaps months. The utter darkness was overwhelming, without light, without direction. He navigated only by relying on a tiny, feeble sense of energy. Suddenly, Lia's eyes lit up as he sensed a violent energy fluctuation ahead. It looked like someone. However, these aliens looked exactly like humans, offering no cultural barriers. There was no sense of excitement at all about contact with an extraterrestrial civilization. He suddenly increased his speed, navigating the complete vacuum of space. Lia's energy recovery was incredibly slow. Even with divine power, the natural energy surrounding him was far too thin in space. 100,000 kilometers wasn't too far for Lia, and since the other creature was also heading his way, it didn't take long for Lia to encounter a space creature for the first time in the vast universe. Green, red. As soon as they came into view, Lia noticed 2 different colored energy beams pulsing ahead. Approaching, the green emitting figures first flew within 1,000 meters of Lia. They were two strange-looking aliens, covered in wounds and clad in green energy suits. They were fleeing at top speed in Lia's direction. Lia's eyes froze, his gaze instinctively shifting to the fingers of the two humanoids. Each wore a green ring. Holy crap! Green Lantern? Green Lantern Corps. Looking back at the figure in the red light chasing them, Lia recognized him instantly, even though it looked a little different from what he remembered. Holy crap! Isn't that Atrocitus, the leader of the Red Lantern Corps? What the hell are they doing? He didn't know when the plot had completely diverged from Lia's memories of his past life. The two Green Lanterns also spotted Lia and gritted their teeth as they turned around, clearly not wanting to harm innocent people. They used energy to teleport. Stranger, get out of here. Stay away from us. This kind gesture warmed Lia's heart, and he sped towards them. To him, these people were like little sons. Energy. All energy. Just getting close, absorbing the free energy, would accelerate the recovery of his divine power. Seeing Lia fly towards them instead of leaving, blocking their path, the two Green Lanterns were so angry they spat blood. Damn it, fool! Or is he in cahoots with Atrocitus? They changed direction again, attempting to shake Lia off. But there was no way Lia would let the energy he'd acquired go to waste. He had just absorbed a significant amount of free energy, regaining a significant amount of his divine power and accelerating dramatically. Damn it! That guy's got a problem. The severely injured Green Lantern actually spat out blood, partly due to the severity of his injuries, but also partly due to Lia's sudden interruption. Seeing their companions' injuries worsening and their speed slowing considerably, the nearby warriors watched Atrocitus closing in behind them. They gritted their teeth and shouted, "Damn it! I'll fight you!" Chapter 348, Red Lantern Ring. Atrocitus studied Lee. He observed that, without any protective gear, Lee could navigate the universe with remarkable ease, flying at speeds comparable to those of a skilled Green Lantern. In his knowledge, there were only a handful of races capable of these two feats. Furthermore, each race was incredibly powerful, so Atrocitus sincerely invited Lee to join his Red Lantern Corps. Lee was silent for a moment, and the two surviving Green Lanterns stared at Lee. Lee nodded, vibrating with energy, and said, "Yes, I'll join the Red Lantern Corps." Excellent. Atrocitus clapped his hands excitedly, and another red ring appeared in his hand. He then raised it and tossed it to Lee. The two Green Lanterns, watching this, felt a sense of foreboding. Atrocitus had nearly wiped them out, and now with the addition of a powerful, mysterious figure, their fate was certain. With this in mind, the less seriously injured Lee helped the other up and fled, transforming into a streak of green light, soaring into the distance and opening a wormhole to escape. However, opening a wormhole requires reaching a certain speed, using the energy of the Green Lantern to penetrate the special barrier. Atrocitus naturally wouldn't let the two escape the punishment of the Green Lantern Corps. Atrocitus ignored the two Green Lantern warriors' curses. He opened his mouth, revealing a dense cluster of sharp fangs, and said to Lia, "Put on the Red Lantern ring. From now on, we are brothers, comrades. Put on the Red Lantern ring." My friend, the red ring before him radiated a crimson light. Lia could sense the powerful energy fluctuations within the ring. Most importantly, the Red Lantern ring aroused his anger, drawing energy from that anger, and the cycle continued. As he put on the ring, a surge of powerful energy surged through his body. Lia felt chant as if he were instantly recharged, his divine power rapidly replenished to its peak. Atrocitus' smile grew even more sinister when he saw Lia don the Red Ring Lantern. "You can recite the oath with me. This will unleash the Red Ring Lantern's greatest power." With that, Atrocitus began to sing the oath, and Lia followed suit. Burning blood, crimson rage, drawn from the still warm bones of corpses, deep hatred, deep resentment, simmering within, forges your path to the underworld. As the oath concluded, the ring in Lia's hand erupted with a powerful red glow, pouring into Lia's body 60%, 80%, 100%, double the skill's effectiveness. Lia's face lit up with joy. No need to search for nuclear fuel, the Red Ring Lantern was the perfect raw material. Activating the special skill, Hulk's Rage, automatically sent Lia into a furious state, and the Red Ring Lantern absorbed the rage's energy, feeding it back into itself, enhancing the special skill's effectiveness. It was practically tailor-made for Lia. However, Atrocitus' friendship value remained unchanged. This wasn't surprising. Atrocitus would sell any of his men without hesitation, His comrades meant nothing to him but sacrifice. Leo was still absorbed in the system's prompts when Atrocitus let out a shrill laugh. As expected, you can unleash the immense power of the Red Lantern Ring. From now on, you'll be the Red Lantern Corps vice leader. Follow me, and I won't treat you unfairly. I wasn't finished yet. You can join the Red Lantern Corps, but you must make me its leader. Leo looked at Atrocitus seriously. Atrocitus' smile froze at these words, and even the two Green Lanterns were stunned. They had no idea what Leo was thinking. He wanted to be the leader right in front of Atrocitus? Was he truly a fool? HMPH, what did you say? Atrocitus's expression darkened. In the entire universe, with the exception of a few powerful new gods, Atrocitus, had never feared anyone. The stranger before him was indeed formidable, but not to the point of intimidating Atrocitus. His face darkened, and he spoke in a stern tone. Are you serious? Boy, watch your words. Don't think I won't do anything to you just because you've obtained the Red Lantern Ring. Atrocitus declared that he had sacrificed at least 800 of his followers, if not 1,000. I'm serious. You'd better take the initiative, or else. Before Leo could finish his words, Atrocitus erupted from his body with a furious, red energy like a tsunami. It was clear that Leo had enraged him. Atrocitus, enraged, had reached at least the mid-level of gold. His cape fluttered in the swirling red energy. Leo shook his head and sighed. Never mind, I'll just give you a beating. Just beat him until he called him daddy. Children with persistent bad tempers are often just pretending. A beating would be enough. This had always been Leo's guiding principle in teaching people. Before he finished speaking, Leo leaped forward, swinging his fist with a simple, unadorned fist, devoid of any energy fluctuations. Seeing this, Atrocitus snorted inwardly. He figured Leo must not yet have mastered the power of the Red Lantern Ring, otherwise why wouldn't he be using the wrathful Red Lantern Force now? Just because Leo hadn't used it didn't mean Atrocitus wouldn't either. His rage erupted to its fullest, radiating waves of red energy. Like a flash of red lightning, he soared forward, striking Leo with his fists. The two Green Lanterns, bound by red chains, were momentarily stunned, then overjoyed. While they didn't understand why the two Red Lantern bearers had suddenly engaged in a fight, it was a good thing for them. A fight to the death would give them a chance to escape. You'll regret this, arrogant brat. Atrocitus, enveloped in flaming red energy, attacked Leo with unstoppable force. Really, red energy swept through, and Leo seemed to stand at the center of the flames. His gaze pierced the crimson energy, and his body suddenly accelerated. Bang! Leo's fist blasted through the sky of crimson energy, colliding with Atrocitus's fist like an arrow piercing the clouds. In an instant, the red energy enveloping Atrocitus's arm suddenly collapsed, like a flood bursting through a dam, transforming into shattering streams of energy that dissipated into the universe. The moment the red energy shield collapsed, an unimaginable and terrifying force surged through Atrocitus's arm dislocated. His entire arm was dyed red and bent into a strange arca. Atrocitus had always been confident in his strength, but he never expected that he would be unable to withstand even a punch from this stranger. Before he could even think, the opponent muttered in dissatisfaction, I didn't even blow your arm apart with one punch. I was too gentle. Sigh, I underestimated you. Chapter 349, Legion Leader. Leo sighed, as if regretting not having killed the opponent with a single blow. To Atrocitus, these words were almost more painful than killing him. The two Green Lanterns watched with trepidation. How powerful was Atrocitus? They had just experienced it firsthand. 5 Green Lanterns attacked a single man, only to have 3 killed and 1 severely injured of a pincer. How could such a formidable being have his arm broken by a single blow from someone who appeared out of nowhere? The two were at a loss for words. The veins in Atrocitus's arm pulsed as if scalding magma was flowing. He glared at Leo angrily, his entire body surging with crimson energy. Boy, I'm going to kill you, then come on, Leo shouted softly, the energy within him surging wildly, showing signs of overload. In that instant, Leo's entire body radiated a dazzling golden light. He clenched his fists and punched Atrocitus in the face. Buzz! Energy vibrated continuously, and Leo's punch was like a meteorite from outer space. Wherever it passed, Atrocitus's red energy suddenly shattered and annihilated, turning into nothingness. Then, he thrust his fist straight into the opponent's face. Bang! A terrifying shockwave radiated from Atrocitus's face. The golden fist smashed into Atrocitus's face, deforming it. His head was uncontrollably knocked to the side, his teeth broken, and blood flowed out. Bastard! 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 Bang! Leah, completely oblivious to the opponent's surging rage, quickly retracted his right fist and thrust his left, slamming it into the other half of Atrocitus's face. Another loud bang. Teeth shattered, blood spurted out, and Atrocitus's face swung the other way. However, Leah showed no sign of stopping. He swung his fists rapidly, right and left, one punch after another, a series of movements flowing like flowing water, hammering straight at the opponent's face. Bang! 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 In space, Atrocitus had no chance of resistance. His face was sunken, and he swayed from side to side like a tumbler. Kudu, the two Green Lanterns stared in stunned silence. Was he hitting Atrocitus? The leader of the Red Lantern Corps, Atrocitus, the Abincer, the greatest Green Lantern? Why was Atrocitus so vulnerable to that glittering figure? Was he cheating? Bang! The final punch landed squarely on Atrocitus's abdomen. Kill you. Leah was helpless. 60% of the man's bones had been shattered, and he was gravely wounded, yet he remained alive. His collapsed chest rose and fell slightly, and a furious red energy enveloped his mouth and nose, breathing in place of air. For the sake of the Red Lantern ring you gave me, I offer you a choice, die, or surrender. The energy's voice reached Atrocitus's ears. His body trembled violently, and he whimpered as he roared at the top of his lungs, I refuse, then die. Leah extended his hand, and a spear gleaming with dazzling golden light appeared in his hand. The tip thrust forward quickly, on the verge of piercing Atrocitus's head. No matter how powerful a creature, if its head is blown apart, it's doomed. Atrocitus' eyes suddenly widened, his body trembling even faster. He screamed with all his might, wait! Wait! The eternal spear was only 2 millimeters away from Atrocitus's head. The two Green Lanterns watched with regret. If Atrocitus died, their chains would vanish, allowing them to escape. With a sigh, they could only continue trying to break free. Leah, holding the golden spear, stared at Atrocitus silently. Atrocitus, breathing heavily, said in a deep voice, you can even obey me, as long as you can avenge me. The Parallax Monster destroyed my home planet, but I know it was all done by the Guardians. The Parallax Monster is the Guardian. If you can help me kill the Guardian of the Green Lantern Corps, I will follow you wholeheartedly. He even added honorifics at the end. In Atrocitus's view, the Red Lantern Corps, as it stood, could not possibly stand against the Green Lantern Corps. Even if he unleashed the Parallax Monster. While powerful, the Parallax Monster was ultimately an uncontrollable factor. While it could cause considerable trouble for the Green Lantern Corps, Atrocitus had no idea how far it would advance. He saw both the Guardians and the Parallax Monster as his enemies, and if he could reap the benefits of their clash, that would be perfect. Leah listened to the other party's request and remained silent for a moment. During that moment of silence, the two Green Lanterns' hearts leaped to their throats. Atrocitus alone was enough to cause them a headache. Adding another terrifying powerhouse would surely cost the Green Lantern Corps many more elite warriors. Fortunately, Leah shook his head and said, I won't help you kill the Guardians directly, but I can give you a chance to confront them face to face. From his past life, Leah vaguely remembered that a Guardian had violated their agreement and secretly accessed the energy of fear. Every wrong has its perpetrator. If revenge is sought, it should be directed against the Guardian transformed into the Parallax Monster. Why kill them all with one blow? Should an entire legion be slaughtered for one man's betrayal? Atrocitus was silent for a long time before finally gritting his teeth and saying, all right, if he refused, he would die. Atrocitus's resolve for revenge was immense. He refused to die without first slaying his enemies, so he had no choice but to agree. That's all. Leah placed a hand on Atrocitus's shoulder, divine power flowing into him, slightly healing his injuries. He then flew in front of the two Green Lanterns and said, please lead the way to Planet OA. The two Green Lanterns looked puzzled, one even furious. Sorry, Planet OA is only accessible to Green Lanterns. Even if you kill me, I won't take you there. Their reluctance was understandable, considering Atrocitus had just murdered several of their comrades. Although Leah saved the two men, he wore the Red Lantern Corps Red Lantern ring, and in their minds, they had already classified Leah as a member of Atrocitus's group. This was like a racial barrier. The one with the Green Lantern ring was obviously unwilling to trust the one with the Red Lantern ring. Chapter 350, Green Lantern Ring. Leah wanted to visit the Green Lantern Corps headquarters, Planet OA, but the two Green Lanterns refused to cooperate. They acted like they were not taking them with them. You're not Green Lanterns if you dare. It's a common saying in the universe that those who fear death are not Green Lanterns. The Green Lanterns embrace this as their motto. It's all your fault. You're so scared of them. Leah, infuriated, slapped Atrocitus on the back of the head. The group was in an awkward state when a streak of green light flew in from the distance. It's a Green Lantern ring. The two Green Lanterns instantly recognized a green light. Many Green Lanterns had died in previous battles, and their rings, after the previous owner's death, automatically sought the next heir. Leah and Atrocitus also spotted the ring within the green light. Just as Leah was considering whether to seize the ring, the green light suddenly turned and flew towards Leah. Why is the Green Lantern flying towards us? I don't know. Don't everyone here inherit a ring? The two Green Lantern warriors looked confused. As they were talking, a Green Lantern ring streaked across the universe and flew in front of Leah. Asked me how I know. The two Green Lantern warriors looked grimly. They had only just learned today that other colored lanterns existed in the universe. As for whether one person could inherit two lanterns, Atrocitus was straightforward. Put it on and you'll find out. So, under the bewildered gazes of the two Green Lantern warriors, Leah put on the Green Lantern ring. The power of will, the Green Lantern ring shimmered with a green light. Leah felt the energy within it, then looked at the two Green Lanterns. You two, take the oath. I'm joining the Green Lantern Corps, too. The two Green Lanterns looked bewildered. Why did they feel this person joining the Corps was as casual as joining a Green Lantern online group? Wasn't joining the Corps supposed to be a solemn and serious matter? Despite their concerns, since Leah had the Green Lantern ring's approval, the two warriors couldn't deny his identity. After all, they couldn't defeat him. Well, the Green Lantern ring never makes mistakes. Since it chose you, you must be trustworthy. One of the Green Lantern warriors, who was less seriously injured, spoke up. My name is Kenter, and I command Sector 662. This one, Omoto, commands Sector 668. Your Green Lantern ring originally belonged to Phoenix. Now, I'll teach you the Green Lantern Corps oath. Recite it with me. Day is bright, night is vast, evil spirits and monsters have nowhere to hide, evildoers and traitors fear my divine light. The Green Lantern burns eternally, shining for eternity. After reciting the oath, Leah could freely draw on the Green Lantern's energy. However, Leah didn't need to replenish it for the time being, so he didn't absorb any additional energy. The energy of a ring primarily comes from the wearer's emotions. For example, the stronger the wearer's will, the greater the power of the ring. Now I'm a member of the Green Lantern Corps. Can you take me to Planet OA? Leah asked again. The two Green Lanterns exchanged a look of resignation. Are you truly a member of the Green Lantern Corps? The Green Lantern named Kenter asked uncertainly. Leah drew upon the energy of the Green Lantern ring, condensing a uniform identical to that of a Green Lantern. He donned an eye patch and declared, Look, I truly am a Green Lantern. After a moment's observation, the two Green Lanterns shook their heads helplessly. According to our tradition, as long as one is recognized by the Green Lantern ring and swears the oath, they become members of the Green Lantern Corps. You can take me to Planet OA. Oh, no need. I have a Green Lantern ring that can automatically open a wormhole to Planet OA. Leah raised her hand, and the ring emanated a shimmering green light, transmitting information into her mind. Each Green Lantern ring contained the fundamental knowledge of 3,600 sectors and over 1,000 functions. Whenever needed, the ring would transmit the necessary information directly to the wearer's mind. At this moment, Atrocitus rubbed his head and asked, What about the Red Lantern Corps? Of course, I'm still the leader of the Red Lantern Corps. Leah summoned his anger. The Red Lantern ring on his other hand flashed, and Leah's green uniform instantly changed color to red. The two Green Lanterns raised their hands in the air, and suddenly saw Leah's red uniform, and they were stunned. What's going on? What do you want? They wanted to question him, but they didn't dare to ask. Instead, they sighed and said, Trust the choice of the Green Lantern ring. The Green Lantern ring has never been wrong. The current situation was a headache. Leah's dual identity put the two Green Lanterns in a dilemma. Although he punished Atrocitus, the murderer of the Green Lanterns, Leah became the leader of the Red Lantern Corps. Then, the leader of the Murderers Legion received a Green Lantern ring and recited the oath to become a Green Lantern Corps member. He can bridge the two core. Finally, Kenter said to himself, comforting himself, take them back and let the Guardians decide. The two agreed, and Kenter opened the wormhole, and the group flew in together. Passing through the wormhole, they arrived at the Green Lantern Corps headquarters, planet Oa. Atrocitus' eyes flickered. He was once a Green Lantern, training on this planet with his comrades. Now, returning to planet Oa, everything had changed. Landing at the Green Lantern base, Kenter handed the severely injured Omoto to the Green Lantern warrior in charge of medical treatment, then said to Lee and Atrocitus, come with me, I'll take you to see the Guardians. Before you learn the truth, please maintain the most basic respect for the Guardians. After all, they have protected this universe for countless years, of course, Lee responded, while Atrocitus remained silent. On the way, a green light rushed over and stopped Lee and the others. That man was none other than Sinestro, Abinsur's disciple and future leader of the Yellow Lantern Corps. Sinestro glanced at Lee and Atrocitus, but without asking any further questions, he stared at Kenter and asked, where's my teacher now? Abinsur's Green Lantern ring automatically searched for a successor an hour ago. You know, we regard the Green Lantern ring as our life, and we wouldn't give it up unless we had to. In other words, without waiting for Green Lantern Kenter to finish, Sinestro clenched his fists and glared at Atrocitus. I heard someone attacked my teacher's troops. Who is that person? End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.